back from fucking Oxycontin jail.
Yeah. Allie cut off your supply.
Unfortunately.
Tony Hawk's Oxy Gel.
Those things are good. I'll say that. I can see why people get addicted to them. Holy fuck, man.
All right, that's how we're going to start the episode, I suppose.
Don't do drugs unless you're hurt.
Unless you're prescribed them by your doctor.
prescribed, yes.
And then you turn into macaroni time in your own bed. You know what I'm saying? Understand? Go to jail, get fucked by yourself.
Yeah, then do drugs.
Yeah.
I got a prison wallet.
Welcome to Roast Mortem. That's it so far. I'm Tom.
I'm Travis.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Connor.
Tonight, we got a cop in. Okay, I think we have to disclose that tonight from the Thought Cops.
I think legally, otherwise people this episode can't be used as evidence.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. So just in case, Grant Mooney, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Long time coming.
Woo! Welcome. Yeah,
Welcome
hell
to the
yeah.
show.
It's only been 5 years, I think, since we've been trying to set this up. So glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we don't know how to have guests on. We really don't. We're very bad at it.
Neither do we.
You only have guests on every episode.
Yeah, and we're still bad at it, so
okay.
it doesn't matter.
Fair enough. All right. Listen, we do the How Was Your Week thing, as everyone knows who listens to the show. But Grant, I want you to talk a bit about your show and then talk about your week.
Okay.
I want people to know you first, because I know.
All right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
just tell me, how are you feeling right now? What's going on?
I'm feeling okay.
Good.
I'm sorry for anybody that's listening to this that doesn't know who I am, and that I have an affinity for silences and conversational hiccups and So, I do a show called Thought Cops. It's been 5 years running. It's me and my good friend Kevin POTUS, who, if you're following in the news, he was recently dunked on by Elon Musk, who found out that Kevin was blocking him, and that ran for a 8-hour cycle on Twitter, which was pretty cool. We talk about just whatever's trending online in the news, and we have a thorough discussion about the happenstance that has created the culture of online discourse that we all partake in one way or another, and that none of us are immune to. And so you get into the thick of it, and you talk about the good things, the bad things. Some might say the ugly things.
Right. Let me
And
ask
we just weekly shove episodes out. They're not even good. We just shove them out there. It doesn't even matter.
I think they're good.
they're
You guys
good.
are fun. I got to ask, though, since your whole show, cops, like you guys are the policing the internet. Have you ever shot any unarmed black thoughts?
Well, there's the rapper Black Thought, and we haven't had him on, but we would like to get him.
Yeah, that would be
interesting guy.
How many more times are you going to have Ken Bone on? I mean, you guys are like best buds
we have
now.
a working relationship with Ken Bone.
Oh, man.
pleasure
What
to
a
listen to that
legend.
guy.
He's a deputy
Yeah.
sheriff, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Deputized.
he gets his own red phone that we dial him up, and he just picks it up no matter what.
Got to go to the Bone Zone every once in a while, you know?
Sorry, wife and kids, I got a podcast right now.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, show's a lot of fun. Check it out. Now, even more importantly, how was your week, though, specifically?
Oh shit, I don't know. Fine.
All right.
Fitting right in.
That's good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't prepare for. I don't know what I did. I can't remember. It's just like life sucks, and you wake up and you do and like the past 2 years has just ruined my brain, and I don't even know what the past week is.
Amen, brother.
Well,
I don't know
true.
what the I don't know how long ago the week was. Like that last week? Do you mean last year? I don't know.
I did
don't
mean the
fucking
last
know what that
5
means.
years, actually.
Yeah.
But no, I hear you. I hear you, man. All right, Mike, actually, we haven't seen you in quite some time. It's been like a month and a half.
Yeah.
How has been your month and a half?
Pretty terrible.
Good.
Oh, nice.
I have no more money.
So far, so good.
Yeah, this is really a good way to launch this.
I love Oxycontin.
Nice.
No more money.
Very Long Island.
Almost died today in a car accident.
Yeah.
Some dude tried to make a left Like, he had no chance of making it. We almost, like, had a head-on collision, and somehow it fucking skirt. And I was...
Use your
survived.
Oxycontin reflexes
Yeah,
to
I was
avoid
like,
it. Yeah.
I was so relaxed, I saw it coming. I was like, holy fuck. And,
Dude, you almost made out with another car?
yeah, basically.
Spirit of the month right now.
I should have fucking hit him in hindsight, because I get a lawsuit, get my leg fixed again, not to pay this time.
Look at the other leg fixed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need that one fixed too as well.
Get
So,
a third leg
yeah, I got
grafted
a
on there.
penis attached to me for
Get
once.
as many legs as you need.
Yeah. Buy yourself the best razor scooter on the market.
I really fucked up today, I'll say that. So
You'll be up and walking in about a month from now after your ACL surgery, correct?
it's like fucking 6 months or some shit like that.
All right,
Oh my
congratulations.
It's terrible.
forward
Take
to
care of
it.
your
Roll
body,
him.
everyone.
Did you roll him down the stairs to get into the
Basically,
show?
he had to shove me through the window over here.
Bro, I went to go grab some beers down the street, and Mike's like, I'll come with you. I'm like, dude, it took you like 3 minutes to get up the driveway. We got to be back here in a half hour.
I like a challenge. You can't baby this shit.
No, I straight up dunked on you. I said, no, you stay here.
He gave me
you stay
waiting
here.
on the wall. Psst. He, like everyone else, just fucking shitting on me. Connor, how's your week?
My week, well, sorry to be the upper to these two downers, but I had a great week.
All right, thanks, Connor.
Loser.
I know. I went abroad to the great nation of Canada.
Oh, sick.
Tight.
Yeah. Went to the Formula One Grand Prix. Watched the cars go vroom. It was great.
That's dope.
Lots of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking
Any
jealous.
accidents?
A few. The best accident of the weekend was when so before the F1 race they have like other like lower tier races, and one of them was the Ferrari Challenge. So it's just Ferrari dealers who pay an exorbitant amount of money to race their cars around the track.
Amazing.
And then they wrecked each other, and it's like, yeah, you fucking losers, millionaires. Just that was great. Yeah.
With the Ferrari Challenge, were they allowed to have tools like in Mario Kart? Were they throwing poutine out of their window?
Not that I could see, but maybe there was a little of that going on in the paddock in the pit lane.
I'm always amazed by the tires. Like, you just keep swapping those bad boys out.
Yeah, they're huge too.
You got to, man.
Big boys.
Yeah.
I just keep
Yeah,
going.
you got to switch them out, throw them straight into the ocean.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes.
Well, it's nice. There's a river next to the track in Canada, so they just roll
Good,
them
yeah.
off into the river
Fuck
and
it.
watch
It's
them
gonna
float
sink.
away.
And they go fishing for waffles in there.
Oh yeah.
They call them whale lifesavers.
Yeah.
I go for some lifesavers right now.
Very sick.
Hey, it was good.
Love that.
It was good. Tom, how was your week?
It's great. I was in Boston.
Nice.
Wicked sick.
Yeah, very sick. I went to a
You're
Brazilian
in Canada
wedding.
too?
Yeah, I was in Canada as
The
well.
armpit of America.
Oh, okay.
It was cold. Very cold this time of year. June.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-June.
That's the famously cold season in Boston.
Yeah.
Is a Brazilian wedding kind of like a normal wedding, but you roll around on the ground and grab people by the belts?
Okay, you'd
Put
be
them in an arm.
surprised. You'd be surprised how accurate that
Or
is.
is everybody an off-duty cop with a gun? Because that's what most Brazilian videos I see end up with.
So only the groom.
Okay.
He was ready to go, but he's Haitian, so it was like a mix. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, Brazilian weddings, they don't hire DJs; they just hire a friend. So that was a pain in the ass.
Did he have like an original like iPod? with the
No,
click wheel?
he had an iPad, and he was doing like a singing along to the songs while playing guitar.
That's one of those.
Which was pretty lame. My wife recommended he play Samba de Janeiro, the song from Samba de Amigo. I'm sure everyone knows that one.
No.
Classic.
Yeah,
A
I don't
great
know
one.
if you heard it. If you know the song, it's classy. But he put on a hard style version of it, like some kind of
Some breakdowns?
yeah, like Polish bar mitzvah version.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those. That was a lot of fun. So that he just turned off halfway through the song. It was a transitioning between songs. It was just like that song's over. Next
now,
song.
found it. Found
No
next
Mambo
song.
number 5?
No, none of that.
That's bullshit.
No, there's like Brazilian DJs and producers. They write songs to keep the women fit. I figured it out, and they love it. Like they have hundreds of macarenas. They know all the
What?
dances. It's very strange. There was one song where all the ladies in full dress were doing push-ups.
That's part of the dance move.
Yeah,
Is just
they're just. That's not a joke. I looked over, and there's 6 women just doing this.
It's like if the cha-cha slide had a baby with a Peloton instructor.
Well, it's like
wild.
There's a Kanye song that's like that. I can't remember it, but I just know that there's like a Kanye song where it's like, oh, the women's workout song. Here's how to like be fit if you're but apparently that's just Brazilian culture, you're saying.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Basically, he stole that idea, is what you're saying.
I think so. I think he probably picked it up off Creu, which is one of their songs. It's pretty insane. There's a dance to it. Everyone knows it. It's a really long dance. I don't know how they know it. But
do they just learn it by osmosis? Like it's just
perhaps
sinking in?
Who knows? It's in the sugary drinks or in the meat. Who knows? Travis.
The song is called The New Workout Plan. How could I possibly forget?
Classic.
It's the new one.
The Yeez.
Travis, take me away from Brazil.
I'm going to take you away to Brazil to space.
Yeah,
'cause that's where I've been all week.
That's what you're doing with your week?
I've just been lost in space, dude. I'm like a hardcore spaceman.
Are you smoking weed now, Travis?
I'm smoking DMT at least 5 times a day to get on this level.
That's fucking lit.
Yeah, dude. I'm almost there with you with the oxys, dude.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I've just been doing a lot of research. I am working. That's very interesting. Very interesting week.
Very.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm ready to teach you about what I learned this week.
All right. Tell us, Travis.
All right. So to preface this episode, I'm going to do a little intro here from our subject. From the largest of the red giants orbiting the galaxies hundreds of thousands of light years across, to the single-celled organisms that engage in vicious microcosmic ecosystems of prey and predator, operating on the most minute scale that we're unaware of, that warfare is happening right on our foreskins, right? This warfare on a microcosmic level. We're all made of tiny shrimps, just juddering around and forming all the materials of the cosmos. That's what science is, dude. It's a study of shrimp.
So that's why Travis picked this guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right.
Tonight we are roasting the most famous astronomer in history, arguably Carl Sagan.
I thought you were going to say Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That would have been a fun way to learn that he died.
Yeah.
If Travis just started doing an episode of him right now.
Man.
Well, he may have not been a Galileo or a Copernicus. He was around at just the right time, at the right place and time in history to cement his place amongst these greats. I feel like everyone knows Carl Sagan, right? He's got.
I've seen his memes. I'll never watch the show. I've seen the memes on the internet.
That is one of the reasons why I decided this was a good episode to bring Officer Grant in, because you're a meme expert.
That's very embarrassing.
It's a meme enforcer.
You're a meme enforcer. I mean, you have to come across it when you're on the beat of the internet, right?
That's very like early 2010s Reddit advice animals, like r/atheism. In this moment, I'm euphoric type shit. But I mean, I whatever. I know he's a guy. He was friends with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He died. That's all I know.
So, all right. Well, I'm glad that it was a genuine reason why they had Neil deGrasse Tyson in the Cosmos remake, and it wasn't just like, let's get a black guy in there. It was like a real reason.
He was his protege.
Okay, that's good.
Sort of. I mean, he drove him to a bus stop, but
Did they murder someone, Travis?
He was not his protege.
Who drove
never
who
mind.
to the bus stop? I'm getting ahead of the story. Sorry.
Yeah, pull this back.
Yeah, go
Travis.
ahead.
When I was kind of like, I didn't really know too much about Carl Sagan. I thought he was more of like a Bill Nye TV presenter scientist. Like, I knew he was a professor at Cornell, but I didn't realize that Carl was like so influential in the American space race until I started doing this research. I always just thought he was like a pop scientist. You know what I mean? Like, we have so many of those kind of today.
We
right?
only have those now.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine the guy at CERN that like brings Lunchables for lunch every day and like looks at hentai.
It's all political. The guy at CERN that's Obama shit.
All right.
Obviously.
Okay.
Obviously.
Excuse me.
Tell me.
So Sagan would pack in a total of 22 honorary doctorates. That's more than our boy Einstein.
More than our boy Kanye, too, who also has an honorary doctorate.
From where?
And Moby.
I don't know. And Moby.
No, Moby earned those doctorates.
Yeah, he really sampled his way into those doctorates.
He's a vegan.
True.
That's good. Well, hold on. I have a theory on that one.
Yeah.
Sagan has more doctorates than Einstein because they invented more bullshit subjects.
Yes, exactly. Einstein, there was like 5 subjects he
They
could
were like
study.
math, science, history, different. Now it's like all these things like political science, science of politics, science of math.
Creative writing.
You see where I'm going with this?
If you went to NYU, you could just isn't they have a course where you could just make up your doctorate or your
Yes.
major?
I heard
Like
a master's in the Beatles.
What?
So
Influencing.
yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to
Sick,
just.
dude.
We should be forgiving student debt faster.
Well, from what I understand, I went to Oxford once on a tour bus that dropped us off for an hour and said, "Fuck off, go to a bookstore or something. We don't want you here." And I think in Oxford, you don't like go to class and like get a grade. You just go, "I want to study this pen." You go, "I want to study this pen." And it's all just like it's not like the traditional, like what we think of as like college. It's like you do your own fucking research and you do Oxford. You
do
idiot.
Penn.
Yeah.
Let's go to
Right.
our resume.
Yeah, you do Penn.
We could get into this all day. I mean,
Yeah.
this is.
And we will.
And we're
Yes.
going to. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's
Let's jump
sprinkle
right
it
in. Yeah, we're jumping in. Let's do our usual roast, and we're gonna start. We got to jump on that train, that hype train. That's pretty much almost over, even though the war is still
Carl
going.
Sagan, you are so ugly.
Yeah, we got to
I haven't
jump.
listened to the show in a while. I forgot how you go.
That's it. Yeah, he's an ugly asshole. We're jumping on the hype train. The war isn't over, but let's talk about Ukraine, dog. We got to get those numbers up. We got to put up our flags. I mean, I feel like people forgot the war is still going on, but that,
it was
whatever.
never a war. It's a conflict. Okay. Who cares?
Police action. All right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we got a cop here.
A scuffle. So our story starts in the Ukraine with Lieb Guber, who was Carl Sagan's maternal grandfather, when he violently murdered a man with his bare hands in Sasov village.
That's sick.
That's
Yeah, there you go.
This is
For
way
good
more
reason?
exciting of a start than I thought we'd get.
Yeah.
Good or bad
So-
reason?
I was all against Russia trying to reincorporate into Ukraine until I heard that there's a guy in Ukraine called Lieb Guber.
Take it, Vlad.
Yeah. Put
Get
an
him
end to
out
this
of there.
madness.
So while it was said that this killing was honorable, he was defending his honor or whatever, the brutal killing forced Lieb to flee to the New World
Gooberland.
dressed as a
Yeah.
yeah, he had to flee to the New World dressed as a woman in 1904. And what a better place to settle than the Lower East Side?
Progressive.
Yeah, this all. He didn't
woke.
have to do it dressed by a woman. We know that. Also, Lieb, what a weeb. Talk about honorable killings. Wow, like a woman.
Lieb the Weber.
Yeah.
Lieb the Weber. Lieb's daughter Rachel, she was the lucky one because he had another daughter that he just orphaned. He just like gave it up to an orphanage. Would eventually marry Samuel Sagan, and the two of them made a home in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. And on November 9th, 1934, Carl Edward Sagan dribbled out into the world.
Well, the family definitely got the names right. Went from Lieb to Rachel and then to Carl, which is good progress.
Pretty close
Inter-
to Jersey.
Interestingly enough, Carl had a very, when they're like the craze was to name your kid like Arya and people from Game of Thrones. The Edward is just named after like Prince Edward because he was really popular at the time.
Is that the King's Speech one?
Yeah, right?
No.
The one who advocated.
That
Yeah.
was someone else. It wasn't Edward that.
No.
I don't know.
Wait, now I'm confused.
Prince
At
Edward
first
was
I
the
thought
one
a lot
that
of
dressed
Edwards.
now I don't.
really well. Yeah.
We don't need to.
You know what? And the fact that these people, they're born with a certain name, and then they're like, "You're king now," and they're like, choose your name," and they're like, "I'm gonna be Edward the 80th," and it's like, why didn't you just choose a different name?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be King Lieb the First.
King Lasagna
King
too.
friggin' Leroy Jenkins is what I would be.
About to bust into this world. Be a monarch. Continue, Travis.
Now, Carl is what you'd imagine as a nerdy scientist boy growing up, right? He had his stamp collection. He wowed his teachers using his gray matter. He even skipped a few grades. And, of course, he was a huge fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs. You may have remember that terrible Disney movie that no one asked for that came out about a decade ago, John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, so Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote this. He was a sci-fi writer, and he wrote all about these fantastic civilizations that lived on Mars. And this was like around the turn of the 20th century. So.
Yeah, so John Carter was, like, that was a series of books.
Yeah.
That was like, people think they're cult when they talk about the Dune books. And it's just like, no, John Carter. That's
the original.
Yeah, that's the OG. Like, it was more fantasy based. It was more akin to like Star Wars.
Yeah,
it was like because I think he also wrote Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah,
so it was basically it was Conan on Mars.
That's dope.
I'm hearing John Carter. I'm thinking, is that the name of the next Lil Wayne album?
What do you got for us? You're up on your hip hop.
Don't put Mike on the spot.
The Zoc.
He's out of the.
I'm
out of practice.
Ain't coming back. Flashbacks. A lot of acid I ate.
That's why I thought it was so weird that John Carter came out like 10 years ago, because like literally the only people that like know of this character were like in their 90s.
Yeah, they don't care.
You're thinking of Coach Carter, that movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
Like, yeah, everyone who read that book is busy watching Fox News, as they should be,
or thanking a World War II veteran. So the family moved to Jersey in 1948. Carl didn't really like Jersey too much. I mean, it's Jersey. But he didn't have to spend too much time there because he graduated from high school at the age of 16 in 1951. And you'd think that this person would be like the valedictorian of his grade or whatever, but he fucked up by writing an essay that was sponsored by the Knights of Columbus about the disastrous effects of a supposed alien race visiting Earth, and he compared it to Columbus and the Native Americans. So he didn't really read the room because the Knights of Columbus were like,
he was shitting on
like
Columbus to Columbus's boys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's pretty woke. So far, this is the wokest story I've heard in since I saw the new Lightyear movie.
Was that an hour ago?
Yeah, sure. I read the Wikipedia. I don't know.
Can't wait to watch that in 3D.
Carl's super woke. Now, Carl had a hard time finding a college at the age of 16. Ultimately, he ended up at the University of Neo Chicago. Grant, did you set him up? Your great-grand?
No, I wasn't alive back then.
Great-grand genetics?
Wait, Neo Chicago is the name of a school?
I have no idea.
Very
I don't know
alternate
anything about
universe.
Chicago.
Yeah, the University of Neo Chicago.
Chirac.
Is that a thing?
Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's the college
Well,
is it's in that bean, right?
Because, see, what happened is a nuclear weapon had destroyed Chicago 2, and so they created Chicago 3, which is colloquially Neo Chicago, but this is the third iteration of it. And, I mean, the scientific experiments that they do on children here, trying to, create a universe inside of a child. It's just what are you doing?
Yeah, that is fucked up. We got other problems.
Yeah.
Bigger fish.
So he's at the University of Neo Chicago.
Yeah.
Post nuke. He's on the basketball team. Scott, he knows science. He's dribbling. He's shooting hoops, dude.
You said he dribbled out of his mother,
Yeah.
so he's literally he's just born
ball
to
hands. Yeah.
Born to drib.
born to ball.
Ball with the ball.
Was he tall, Carl Sagan?
He's
I
about
was picturing him as a short guy.
he was about 6 foot. So he's not like
He's average.
short, but you know.
It's
got like
1950s, though. He
he's
might
like-
be a giant.
This is also the 1950s where the basketball team is entirely white.
Not
So,
fun.
yeah.
Not fun at all.
Yeah.
He had a very thin neck. Intimidated by people with thin necks.
They freak you out.
Yeah, because they look like they want something. That's it.
Now,
That's all.
Carl was very, remember he's a space boy, but he's very interested in biology, and it lands him a job as a lab assistant for a dude named Herman Mueller, who was a eugenist, first of all. And his job was zapping flies with an X-ray machine to make
sick.
super flies.
What? That's pretty dope.
That's really great.
That's a cool ass
Yeah.
job.
And, well, Carl's job specifically, that was like what Mueller was doing. Carl's job was to separate the flies into two sexes and determine if they were virgins. I don't know.
That's an interesting job, I ain't gonna lie.
Are these
Yeah.
flies fucked, or are they a bunch of losers?
Yeah, right? Someone's ain't getting no pussy.
Let me see that fly purity ring.
We only want chads.
Only the chattest of flies will get our zaps.
Do flies have dicks?
Yeah, how's that work?
They have vaginas and dicks? How do they
I
fuck?
don't. I know they throw up on their food before they eat it, like I do.
Yeah.
Do they have
That's not an answer to the question.
do they have like cloacas?
Here's a different fact.
Those are facts.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Travis.
we get a lot of that on this show. That's for sure. But well, that's I guess that's pre-automation or the idea of automation, because like the other guy's just hitting the go button on the X-ray, correct?
Yeah, zap.
And it,
Zap.
all right, cool.
And they're
And they
looking
could-
for that.
and they couldn't separate them beforehand into
Right.
sexes. They just had to. Here, we got the flies. Start it.
Yeah.
right.
Making that superfly.
It's awesome.
So Sagan was always into thinking outside the box, and he was convinced that all the figures in the Bible were in fact alien visitors. He was, and he was also very wrapped up in the UFO fever. This is the 1950s, so you're seeing
When was L. Ron Hubbard writing Dianetics? Was that like the 60s, 70s?
In the 70s.
we covered him. That
So
was
he's
the
like a
late 60s,
pioneer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
there was one story where he was in a diner with his friend, and he just started screaming that this is Carl Sagan, that Jesus was an alien, just in the middle of this diner, and everyone's like, I don't know, this is back when you probably get lynched for saying shit like that,
How old was he at this point?
18.
I forgive it.
Yeah,
You can be 18 and like have an outburst like that. That's fine. If he's like 25 and he's like, "Oh, Jesus is an alien," it's like maybe let's look into a sanatorium
yeah.
where you send the crazos.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jesus was a mushroom.
Well, yeah, but I think
That's entirely true.
Exactly. Only facts here.
I think by the time he was 25, he kind of reeled in this UFO thing because he was introduced to the Fermi paradox. We're going to be talking about a lot of like, I feel like Fermi paradox and like a whole bunch of these different terms are very like pop science. You turn on YouTube and you're going to see somebody explaining the Fermi paradox to you. Basically, that if there's a bunch, if the universe is so big, where are all the aliens? That's not
And
very.
the Zeta Reticula space
Yeah.
system. No
Yeah.
cap.
Well, nowadays kids can go to YouTube
Yeah.
and look up the Fermi paradox. I grew up next to Batavia, Illinois, where I could just bike down to Fermi Lab and ask them about the aliens.
Oh,
Is that a regular thing in your neighborhood?
Yeah, you just bike through. You just go to the Fermi Lab.
Nice.
oh shit!
It's just out there.
And there's a guy out there answering your question.
What do you say? Was it, yeah,
Yeah,
and shit?
Antonin Fermi.
He's
He's a
he
furry.
started it, but he's the janitor now. And he
Well,
sits
yeah.
and tells you
He
old timey
retired.
stories. Yeah, and rakes the leaves. Travis, tell me more about this young alien man,
Carl-
who's currently under the influence of the truth.
Yeah, Carl's roommates found him to be an absolute brat. He wouldn't pick up anything in his apartment. He expected them to cook for him because he said his mind was too busy with bigger things.
I love that.
God.
That's hilarious.
Great roommate.
My mind's a garden. Jesus Christ.
Connor, you don't pull any shit like that. You have one of the biggest heads I know, and you still don't say things like that.
That's true. Also, to me and my big head, quick side note, couldn't find a hat that fit me at the Grand Prix. Couldn't find one.
Yeah, they
None of them
don't make
existed.
them your size. Unbelievable. The amount of smarts in this kid's brain. Oh my gosh.
They
I
have
say
small,
kid, I mean full-grown man.
smaller heads in Montreal, I guess.
Yeah, tiny little ones.
Well, all right. So Carl Sagan's floating around. He's like, I'm not even going to fold my turtlenecks. You're going to have to do it for me.
Yeah, well, Carl's studying
He's got
by...
to protect his neck.
Yeah, he does have a pretty fucked up neck. We'll get into that.
Very slender.
Yeah. So Carl was studying biology, but like I said, he always wanted to be an astronomer. So he decides to major in physics, and he studies with other science physics titans. This guy Harold Hewell and Gerard Cooper. I don't know who they are, but those are, if you're a physics person.
The two guys from Breaking Bad.
Perfect.
While doing his postgrad in 1956, he meets the girl of his dreams, Lynn Alexander, a bright young girl. And by that, I mean a girl, because she was 16 and Carl was 24.
Oh. Well, was she cooking for him?
Yeah.
It was different back then.
Way different back then.
Yeah, way different.
Everyone was more mature.
So Lynn was not doing a lot of cooking for him because Lynn was a bioanthropologist and would actually become a world-renowned scientist in her own right, actually getting more accolades than Carl Sagan. But right now it's all about,
Was she on PBS, though?
Nah.
Is she the dolphin lady?
We're going to be talking about Dolphin Man. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh,
then
I was
let's-
a dolphin man. I know this guy. This
All
guy.
right, it might. We'll find out if
shit.
it's dolphin lady that I'm
Yeah,
thinking
we got
about.
Okay.
fun dolphin tales, hopefully.
The
Hopefully
whole
we're on the
episode
same
C.
page.
Yeah, I think we are, but this is an actual scientist, not a dolphin enthusiast.
Yeah, no, I know.
Whoa, there he is.
That's hot.
How'd you have that preloaded?
For the
I
listeners at
Googled it.
for the listeners at home, Grant
Man,
just
the
showed us
internet is a
a
wonderful
Muppet. A human Muppet.
So Lynn and Carl were married after a year of rocky dating, and Lynn wanted lots of babies. The first one to come out was Dorian, named after Dorian Gray and D. Orion, like D' Orion.
They named their baby after Dorian Gray, the madman.
Yeah, I was like, have you read that book?
Did they also get a portrait commissioned on the birthday?
Yeah, right.
God.
But also,
What was their second kid's name? Humbert.
their second
Let's get lost.
their second kid's name was Jeremy Zapata Sagan because they were so
Sick.
revolutionary.
Oh, named after the Pearl Jam song.Got it.
Oh, I thought the hot song. I thought it was a hot song. Was she Mexican?
No,
Awesome.
yeah. Carl was all about reinventing himself in the scientific world during his post-grad work. So now Sagan no longer called himself a biologist or an astronomer. He was an exobiologist. That is a scientist that studies life not of this world.
It's great. What are you up
That's
to
fucking
this
cool.
week, Carl? Nothing.
Looking for it.
Yeah, and
Sick.
keep in mind that this is 1957, so like Russia just launched Sputnik. So like we're not.
So it's 10 years after Roswell. So the craze is like at an all-time high because news traveled slow back then.
Yeah.
People were like, yeah, it's valid as hell, man.
S4.
I'm not going to ask any questions.
Dude, I want to be an exobiologist, though. I'm just saying. Like
Me too.
What
That
do
sounds
you
like
do?
a cool ass job.
Mike, you were an exobiologist right after you had your surgery. You just take Oxycontins and be like, oh, this is cool.
And it sounds awesome to me.
You didn't write enough on graph paper.
I was thinking about
That's
it.
why you got fired
Yeah.
from Oxycontin.
Fuck.
Carl Sagan was full of all these possibilities of different life, like life on Jupiter, on the moon, maybe Venus, but definitely on Mars, because he read those books. Right.
He listened to that David Bowie song, and he was like, this guy makes a compelling argument.
Yeah.
And then he did 2 claps.
You know, I would go to Venus because there's no other men there. You see, women are from Venus.
I go to Uranus.
Oh, right.
And they don't have any men over there.
They also
So they
use
need
the
one.
razors to shave their legs.
No, that's what you think. That's what you think. That's like all the guys that like sign up to do like a self-defense class, and they're like, this is gonna be just all women, and it's just like a bunch of dudes that went to the self-defense class just to like meet a woman because they think it's gonna be all women, but it's all Venus is just 100%.
It's just guys who are okay. So it's a bunch of guys who are looking for women who don't give lip.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right.
John Gray ruined it. Do you like that I know the name of the guy that wrote that book?
I love that. I love that you know that.
I don't know why I know that.
That's all right.
I just know it.
I don't know weird shit. Especially Carl here.
Yeah, this statement from Carl kind of fits the whole idea about life, finding life on other planets. He said, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Oh, that's a good way to justify getting more money in grants.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't done shit. Well, that's not evidence that there's not shit out there.
Yeah, it might be.
Give him whatever we were going to give Mr.
If you gave
Rogers.
me $10 million to find nothing, maybe if you give me 40, I'll still find nothing.
I don't hit the rewind button. Can you say that again, but slower, so I can like internalize that quote? Because I feel like that's important.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Fuck, man. What drugs was this guy on? DMT?
Isn't that like a
LSD?
kind of like it's
Weed?
proven truthful until it's proven not?
What are you talking about?
No, it's like you can't prove a negative.
But it's fact until it's proven not fact.
What?
It's like it's the truth until someone else finds the real truth, and it's not the truth anymore.
Dude,
Right. It's like the primary.
right.
What do they call it? The foremost theory, the primary theory in like science.
It's pretty deep.
I don't know. We're out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you because you know a lot of things.
Yeah,
I'm
ask me
retarded.
about some World War II tank tactics.
I can't ask Travis right now because he's fried on just this guy.
Yeah.
So as soon as we go,
I still got Alexander on the brain, so I'm no use.
right. And if I don't want to ask Grant these kind of questions because he's going to arrest me
Yeah,
online,
that's true.
and that sucks.
Don't
They
go to
used to think
Twitter jail.
Humans were
Yeah.
evolved dinosaurs back in the day.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Hey, you can ask me any questions you want, just no lawyers.
Carl, Lynn, and Dorian moved to Berkeley as Carl got himself a fellowship at Cal U's Department of Astronomy, even though he was an exobiologist, in 1960. Also, that year, Sagan landed his first job with NASA, working on the Mariner probe, which was sent to Venus. Mariner 1 failed, but second time's a charm, and the data came back, and Carl was like, no, life there, and then he wrote a bunch of shit about the greenhouse effect and how it's gone amok on Venus.
Oh, so that's made up then.
Now,
Now,
foreshadowing, I'd say.
yeah. Now, because Sagan did so much in the science world, I'm going to break this up into 5 main sections here. First one, looking for wet-ass aliens. Second one, getting dank. Third one, working with NASA, celebrity scientists, and then stinky old liberal. Number 5.
Okay.
He was not looking for dry aliens.
No,
he
he was-
only wanted the
Why
wet.
are they
Wet ones.
How do you know they're wet? He hasn't even found them yet.
Because, like, every animal has to slurp on water, dude, right?
on Earth?
That you know of, yeah.
Well, you know.
Wow. Carl
Some
should take his own
loopholes in
advice.
Careful, Carl.
All right. Oh, man, I was going to say some dumb shit, but I'm going to say it.
You can think about it. You can say it. if you
I'll
want.
think about it. No.
All right. Well, Travis, why don't you get into some wet aliens? Then?
Yeah, number 1, the wet aliens. So while living in Berkeley, Sagan was getting in contact with other exobiologists. And so the scientists that were exobiologists were much older than Sagan. They had already started their research and their search for intelligent life in the universe. The big pioneer in this field was a dude named Frank Drake. Drake had set up the Ozma Project in West Virginia, named after the Wizard of Oz, who's looking for Oz. And he basically set up this huge radio wave telescope, and he was basically looking at the galaxies Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridania with this huge-ass dish. He's just sitting there listening all day.
That's fucking sick.
It's great.
Yeah.
So he's doing nothing to help anyone, and he's getting paid
Yeah,
all
he's
this
getting paid.
government
Yeah,
money.
so these are
It's so sick.
These are some old-time snake oil salesmen.
Drinking some boxed wine, hanging out.
Now,
It's just like the scientists today. Same thing.
In 1961, Sagan and these other extraterrestrial hunters of astronomers and both biologists had a conference at Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia hosted by Drake and his small team. This meeting...
Drake and his posse.
Yeah, Drake... Yeah, you were near Drake this weekend.
His crew.
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah, thanks for correcting my my friend over there.
Yeah, so Drake and the posse wrangled up the insane posse of the weirdest clown scientists the world has ever known. And it was at this meeting that Sagan coined the term SETI, which originally was spelled with a C and was communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. I don't know why. I was like, why is ET separated when it's one word? I don't know.
What's the word for forced acronym?
Yeah.
It's a backronym.
Backronym.
Eventually, this would be changed to SETI, spelled with an S, for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Because they're like, we're not
too many people were saying Ketty, so they were like, no, we gotta.
Yeah, well,
make it an S.
there's no communication going on. We might have to like find them first.
Yeah. How's the communication going?
It's kind of one way.
Oh, fuck.
We're supposed to say something.
Fuck.
There's some guy going, hello.
Yeah.
This is like we roasted Graham Bell. This was like when Graham Bell like first invented the phone and hadn't given it to anyone yet. It's like,
Right.
dude, you can talk to other people with this thing right here. You see this?
Where's yours? I'll call you. You gotta make your own. That's the one catch I got here. I might be a genius, but I don't expect you guys to sit around with your ass in your ass.
Yeah, pull yourself up by your own phone line.
Amen.
Get dial-up.
Oh, gee.
They also worked out another pop scientist kind of equation, the Drake equation, which is completely arbitrary equation that determines how many civilizations are in the galaxy. I'm not a mathematician, but I'm just like, how do you come up with these numbers? I don't know. There's a lot of fucking to the fifth powers and
A lot of
ends
math
and
involved.
Dude, I am so furious when I hear shit like that.
Why?
Because these guys are getting paid to just make up shit.
I'm jealous, honestly.
Hey, have you heard of a thing called cryptocurrency? Let me tell
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, Mike's unfortunately.
I got a
yes.
bunch of stoned ape NFTs that just bankrupted me.
It's great. They were investments, and now you got.
They're still investments.
Yeah, still investments. Yeah, technically. Just hold
Come
on,
on,
man.
yeah.
Hold on for dear life.
One of the strangest characters that Sagan would befriend at this Green Bank Summit was John Lilly. Now, Lilly was working on communication with dolphins. We're getting to the dolphins here. You may have heard of like weird old government contracts of like recruiting dolphins for like Navy reconnaissance or like mine clearing. That's what this guy was doing, as well as providing the dolphins used in Flipper. So clearing mines and acting in Flipper.
Hollywood and the government, man. They're just coming together to fuck us, bro.
I'm just picturing a naval admiral being like, "The dolphins hate commies just as much as us.
Yeah.
we can recruit them."
All right, you see what he just said, Sarah Jessica Parker? Now say that on Sex in City, and we're going to really put these dolphins over, okay?
The way the scientists saw it was dolphins were the closest forms of the scientists at the Green Bank Summit. They saw it as the dolphins were the closest form of life like that had intelligence on Earth. So Lily's research could serve as like a medium between aliens, like talking to aliens. You know?
These people are all like evolutionary biologists, and they didn't think, oh, we'll like do monkeys first.
Right.
Well, they say that aliens live in the ocean.
Real
down.
aliens?
I've heard that.
Yeah. They say that the aliens came down and had sex with the octopus, and that's why you have tentacles.
That's
I
just-
mean, let's be
that's just
fair too,
Lovecraft.
though. There's more like water than there is
Yeah.
land. If something's gonna land, it's gonna land just in the water. It's 75% of it.
And a lot of it's undiscovered.
What you're saying is Japan is a result of aliens
Could
and
be.
their tentacle porns?
It's not far off.
It might be.
I accept it.
5G cell towers make me sick.
Now, Lily proved his point about how smart dolphins were by giving a fantastic speech to the group about the size and speed at which dolphins can get hard.
Yeah, aren't they always thinking about rape all the time?
Yeah. So Lily's favorite dolphin was a dolphin named Elvar, and Lily would chuck a ring into the pool, and Elvar would see it, instantly get a boner, and catch the ring around his dick, and then return it to Lily.
That's the best.
That's just guys being dudes.
I think I played that game on Sega when it came out in 1992.
Yeah, the Echo, I suppose. Yeah.
And these are the ambassadors for Earth. These are the people trying to communicate with aliens, right?
I mean, they laugh. They have a sense of humor, but who said it before? Like, they're always thinking about rape.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you meet someone, they say a rape joke, and you know, that was a little less than savory. They only had rape jokes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they find funny.
Aren't we always thinking about rape deep down?
Well, it's not a joke. That's what I'm saying. It's not funny. It's like, I
That's
got to
true.
discipline
That's
myself.
fucked, yeah.
This is why I look towards Jesus for guidance. You understand?
Jesus?
Well, aliens again. So
Alien, yeah.
Full circle here.
yeah.
Mushroom.
So Sagan returned from this all stoked. He's like, we're going to find fucking boner dolphin aliens. This is going to be the best thing in the world. And he comes home and his wife Lynn is like, I'm done with being a housewife. You are the worst person in the world. And it's probably the sentiment that Sagan admired the fact that Winston Churchill never dressed himself. He loved to walk around. Winston Churchill never dressed himself.
Oh.
Probably because Winston Churchill was a fat ass, but you know.
Just couldn't button himself. He kept buying
couldn't
women's
button.
shirt. He wasn't left-handed.
Well, it was also because he just never changed. He just that way he could keep all the sausage links in his pockets from the day before.
Good point.
And then the cognac would be in the same place he left it.
God, I like that.
They
guy
never
a lot.
laxed gear
Also,
back
I think
then.
he fashioned himself his own like onesie, didn't he? So that he didn't have to change, like especially during World War II. Isn't that a thing?
He did when he was
Yeah.
in the bunker. He wore like a onesie suit.
He just
thing.
wore like one, He just slapped it on and just.
That's fucking sick.
That's leadership right there.
That's baller.
Yeah.
Flaps in the back.
Lynn was not about to make Carl a Winston onesie. And Lynn wasn't one of these trophy blondes. She was a scientist. While Sagan was away, she was writing a paper on endosymbiosis theory, which I have no clue what it is, but it sounds really fucking smart.
What kind of sexy thing they had?
Probably none.
It's probably some nasty sex.
Yo, I can imagine her as like that 60s bombshell with the giant tits pouring out of her dress, and she's wearing a lab coat. Like, I am not a housewife. I am an award-winning scientist studying endocryoptic whatever. Okay? Get
I
out.
just love that. I love that Winston Churchill was like a very popular throughout time, like, you know, at different points in time, because he had a very long career, like a popular politician, a war hero, like brought Britain through like World War II, like all these different things, and that Carl Sagan was like, yeah, I'm like him. We're the same, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I also double checked that Winston Churchill might have invented the romper.
Oh,
Progressive.
trendy.
Yeah,
The romp him.
the romper.
So Lynn packed
was
up.
trademarked.
Yeah, Lynn packed up the two kids, and she leaves Carl. And Carl responds by going to peep shows, crying, and calling Lynn all the time.
Oh,
Do you think he was calling her from the peep show?
He wrote some, because he was constantly writing, so he wrote something. He's like, I just realized that going to this peep show, love is about the interactions between a man and a woman. I could not touch my pee-pee or something.
Hey, it's less embarrassing than James Joyce's letters to his beau. If y'all have ever read that, if you ever do a James Joyce episode, I'm happy to come back on.
James Joyce
It was
loved
all-
eating ass.
And he was a big
Respect.
flatulence guy. That was his fetish.
oh yeah.
Very, very unsettling.
That thing be farting. That's jokes.
So
Like that.
So Carl gets a call from Harvard in 1963, and he takes the opportunity. He's like, I'm going to move to Massachusetts. Takes the opportunity to reach out to Lynn, be like, oh, now you should probably move back in with me and the kids, go to Cambridge. And Lynn is kind of like, there's not really much going on in Berkeley in terms of like science jobs. So she agrees. They move in. A couple of years later, they'd separate and divorce. So that's end of wife number one. Carl thought that it would be a great idea to take his new bachelorhood on a trip down to the Caribbean. And he calls up his old friend John Lilly to see if he can go hang out with him and the Boner Dolphins. Sagan was introduced to Elvar. Probably saw his stiffy, firm as fuck. And Lily was certain that dolphins could speak English. The problem was that they needed more immersion with humans. He's like, if only they could just live amongst us. Remember, when you go to Mexico and you start learning how to speak Spanish? You just have to do
works,
that.
man. You go to a Taco Bell long enough, you start saying habla.
Yeah.
You go to a whorehouse, you learn real fast.
Say bonjour.
Stupid idiot. He confused the word immersion with submersion. He meant that he should be under the water, not that he needs to be speaking the same language as a fucking dolphin.
If I drown and scream for help, this dolphin might learn one or two words.
Yeah. As long as I'm speaking English.
Yeah.
As long as you're underwater.
Down in St. Thomas, Carl met this hostess at the top of on a mountaintop resort. Her name was Margaret Howe. And Margaret told Sagan that she was bored of working this dead-end restaurant job, and the two of them hit it off, and Sagan's like, just want to get with this lady. If I get her a job, maybe it'll help. Maybe she'll kiss my pee-pee.
Just flash.
It's like, how good are you at folding turtlenecks and making gazpacho?
Yeah.
Can you
Do
clean my
you like a
foreskin?
man in a romper? No, he also asked her, he's like, do you like dolphins? Because I think I have a great job for you. My buddy's looking for some lab techs, right? He sets up Margaret working at Lily's facility, and Lily had drafted up an experiment to get that total immersion with the dolphins. And basically it was to construct a flooded ranch, style house. And it became Margaret's job to live in this house with water up to her waist for 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, with a dolphin named Peter.
Oh, this is the dolphin
That's
lady.
fucking sick.
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So Carl Sagan got that girl in this position.
Yes. Carl Sagan was actively trying to sleep with this girl while this was going on. He didn't succeed.
Are you serious?
I know the dolphin did
Peter
several
did.
times. Yeah.
Well, yes. So
You gotta do it
Margaret
before you get the job.
Margaret quickly noticed how much Peter liked her. It followed her around all the time, and she noticed that it started rubbing up his hard as hell dick up against her leg all the time. She's like, that's weird, but we have to get this dolphin to concentrate on its English lessons, because remember, we're trying to get dolphins to speak English. So Margaret found it necessary to give Peter hand jobs in order for him to concentrate during his lessons. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, she'd jerk off this dolphin Peter.
Are you sure this is not like a ZooTube video?
Now,
that's
like I said, Sagan is still trying to sleep with Margaret. Like he's like, I got this job, and then he comes over and he's like, she's giving a dolphin a hand job.
So let me film this.
You want to practice on me? That way Peter enjoys it more?
It could be a matter of technique when it comes to education, science. That's what we're doing here.
Make it squeak.
What
Make
if
it
you
squeak.
do both of us at the same time?
Yeah.
Will that help?
Research.
Write it down, John Lilly.
It's a classroom. It's a learning classroom rather than just a one-on-one.
I also like the water in St. Thomas.
So the salt on the wound for Sagan was that Peter was way more famous than him at the time, because Peter was one of the flipper dolphins.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, every time you
means
watch
when you-
Flipper,
One of them's getting handies on the regular.
One of them
Yeah,
got
that's
handy.
fucked.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine knowing what you know now and watching Flipper as like a guy who could just not get laid. Like that dolphin gets more,
get more action.
human pussy.
Well, he's a Hollywood
Than I do.
dolphin,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
mean, it comes with the territory.
That is
I'm
true.
not gonna rewatch Flipper anytime. I don't. Are people rewatching Flipper?
I can only hope so.
Well, I was planning on it, but I don't know anymore.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be a dolphin now.
I was gonna have a Flipper and Reagan movie marathon this weekend.
Flipper should be the next movie night.
We should. Oh, fuck. I totally forgot.
Flipper triple X.
I have to do more movie nights. Sorry, everyone.
All right, so back in Cambridge, Carl is jumping around all over the place. He's recruited by the U.S. government along with 6 other scientists to be part of Project Blue Book. We talked about that before. That's the project that looked into all the UFO sightings, and they found that most of them were just
Project
crap.
Blue Balls. You said.
Yeah.
Like how Travis is frozen.
Carl's like, you changed the name. It seems purposefully hurtful to me.
Yeah.
And the logo's a dolphin. Like, come on.
So jumping forward a little bit, Carl took a break from teaching in 71 and 72, only to host a summit between the Soviets and American scientists that were both interested in the SETI program and talking to aliens. The summit took place in Armenia, and it's basically where he came up with another pop science thing called the Kardashev scale, which basically defines different types of alien civilizations based on the amount of energy they're able to harness. So type 1 is a civilization that can harvest the power of their nearest star. Type 2 can harvest all of the power from their nearest star, all the power that reaches them from the nearest star. Type 3 can harvest all of the galaxy's power. It's garbage. It's just like, this could
I love how he's
exist.
coming up with rankings for civilizations that don't exist.
It's also
Yeah.
entirely irrelevant to like an
Yeah.
intelligence. Because
But this is...
think about it too. Like they're like, all right, we have a scale to talk about what kind of power these civilizations can provide. I think the smartest ones would just figure out what they need.
Yeah.
They're like, we
From
don't need a
each-
whole damn sun.
From each according to their need, to each according to their ability. Carl, alien.
That does sound good.
Are we talking about Carl Sagan here, or are we talking about freaking Goku? Harnessing the power of the galaxy.
Yeah, it sounds like
He was
it.
over 9,000, bro.
He's about to do a spirit bomb.
So they also discussed the big question, right? They were like, if we were even met aliens, how would aliens like be able to understand us? How would be able to communicate?
Would
So
they
Card-
be able to jerk us off?
Perhaps
More than that Friday's waitress I sent
Yeah.
to live with a dolphin.
I'll be there
how
to
do you
test
get-
subject.
So
How do you get your guys' dolphins to pay attention in school?
Oh, that's easy. I
don't-
use my mouth and
Oh, no.
hands.
Use my
Never mind
ass.
what I do.
So Kardashev had a massive breakthrough here. He's walking down the street, the main street of this Armenian village that they're having this conference in, with another scientist, and they see a rather buxom peasant girl walking on the other side of the road. As they're walking, they see a donkey, and the donkey turns his head and looks at the girl, and the donkey got a big old boner. And Kardashev turns to the fellow scientist and said, "And you doubt the possibility of establishing contact with a civilization on another planet?"
Travis, you didn't just make that up because that just sounds like
That's
something
not
you
real.
would.
No,
So
that
that-
is real.
she
This
had a
is something
dump
that
truck booty?
Carl talked about.
Wait, you said buckstress? What does that even fucking mean?
It means big old titties.
Big old titties.
How did this guy become America's scientist? What the fuck?
Actually,
Actually, no,
write
I
this
just
down.
answered my own question.
If it was
Of
the
course he
70s, I'd
becomes-
be like, yeah, this makes sense.
Oh man, you gotta see what fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson's been writing. He's like, I
pale
watched a movie in which there were 2 penises in one asshole, and from that, I
decided in that moment that fission should be measured on a different level, perhaps a circular cylindrical level.
Yeah.
A 7-inch measurement.
Come.
So SETI, after this meeting, they talk about donkey dicks, and they're like, well, yeah, of course, you get a boner when you see a hot alien. SETI establishes its home base for ET communication at the massive Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico. Probably most notable appearance of the Arecibo Observatory is in GoldenEye. When Sean Bean's character, they're fighting at the end. That's the Arecibo Observatory.
Isn't it also in Contact?
Yes. So the other movie was 1997's Contact, which was written by Carl Sagan himself.
Oh,
Fortunately,
no shit.
he did not have a chance to see it as he died the year prior.
He would have gotten so many hand jobs when that came out.
One.
There were quite a few curious transmissions they received over the years, but we'll talk about that some other time. Now, number 2, getting dank. Going to be talking about Carl loving his dank nugs.
Smoking a lot of weed?
Yeah, so during the time that Carl was going through those marriage issues in Berkeley, and while at Harvard in the early 60s, Carl Sagan discovered the beauty of sipping on that dank marijuana nugs. Marijuanas.
Okay. Very cool.
Is he taking like acid or like LSD at all? Or anything? That sounds like the whole dolphin bullshit. Sounds like some shit you'd take acid on.
So Carl was not about taking acid. Interestingly enough, John Lilly, after the whole dolphin thing, Carl stopped talking to him because John Lilly just dropped a whole bunch of acid and started to do like weird LSD experiments.
MK Ultra,
Sex with cars, things like that.
Isn't that like the type of creative substance you need in order to like theorize about like the structure of energy harnessing of like
I would think
the
so.
celestial they harness the fucking orb in the fucking sky. Like, I don't know, they just get the energy.
You have a smart guy, science guy who's who's very task oriented, and then you give him a few drops of that shit. Right? Now we have an autistic who looks at tie-dye too much. He's going to figure out something.
Well, I think Carl knew his limits. He wasn't about to drop acid and be a tie-dye boy.
I thought he was an acid.
That's what I thought too.
No, he wasn't.
I'm going to stare at the sun later.
Lame.
So while at Harvard, he met a Professor Lester Greenspoon. And Lester...
This is up there with Lieb Gleber.
Yeah.
Lieb Gleber.
Greenspoon had 6 child wives.
Yeah, Lester was a psychiatrist at Harvard and was currently working on the, quote, marijuana problem. Now... Lester didn't smoke himself, but he found Carl to be the perfect subject for a functioning weed boy. A degenerate.
I can't function on that shit. People function.
You ever write anything on weed?
When I first started smoking, I would draw and shit, but after a while, I just stopped doing anything.
That's cool.
I just stopped doing a lot of shit.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do anything on weed.
Yeah. Started just being a pile of shit.
Lester Greenspoon's studies come out in 1971 with a book called Marijuana Reconsidered. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. Sorry, let me just restart there. I think I skipped the fact. So Lester would ultimately come to the conclusion that weed is a lot safer than alcohol and other drugs, so therefore it should be legal. Right? It's like every weed.
Wrong. Wrong. Should be very illegal. Continue.
We should also make Percocets very over the counter.
We should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mike agrees.
Lester came out with his studies in a 1971 book called Marijuana Reconsidered. In this book, there's a section that's clearly talking about Carl, who he calls Mr. X. And the fact that he is a professor at a well-respected university, getting cotton mouth in the shower and like very boomery, like tripping out on weed. You know, like I just close my eyes and like I see cartoons.
Professor X. He was bald. He rode a wheelchair.
Weak
and
legs, yeah.
Like when I used to smoke, like I
controlled
never
dolphins with his mind.
When I used to smoke, I never saw like cartoons. You know what I mean?
When I did bong rips or like edibles, I was bugging out sometimes. I'd see some shit.
I don't know. What you see like R. Crumb like comic strips? You're like, is this what they were seeing when they like did weed in the 70s?
I can
horny.
only hope so. I want to see some giant Amazon women with asses
Big
that ride
asses.
for days. God, R. Crumb was a genius.
He's horny.
Horny genius.
Only had X videos back then.
So yeah, Carl also wrote an anonymous excerpt in the book. And because Lester wrote this book on weed, all the weed boys, all the weed heads that read Marijuana Reconsidered used to mail Lester like a fuck ton of weed that he would just give to Carl Sagan because like Lester didn't smoke.
This is the ultimate grift.
But as I mentioned before, weed was where it stopped with Carl. He never got into LSD.
Ooh.
He did have a chance to meet ex-Harvard professor Timothy Leary with Frank Drake. Leary at the time was locked up in a California prison.
The Unabomber?
No, he's like the
LSD
godfather of
guy.
acid.
Oh.
Yeah. Leary, so he had this meeting between Leary and Frank Drake, and Leary was adamant that Carl built him a ark to, like a space ark, like Noah.
Like Minecraft?
And yeah, and Sagan was like, dude, that's not possible. And then Leary was like, it doesn't matter the cost. All of my followers have all this money. Like, just build me this ark. And Sagan,
Maybe drugs are bad. Maybe man, fuck.
Sagan was like, the problem is the technology is not there. And then Leary's like, you don't understand. Like, if it's not there in 10 years, we're going to build the ark. And like, Sagan's like, no, this is not happening.
So that's why he didn't do acid.
Yeah, space arcs.
Because he had one guy who just wouldn't listen to like the concept.
Well,
He was just a little bit ahead of his time.
Leary tried to get him on board by making Sagan the captain of this space ark.
Oh, that's fucking. I've been like, hell yeah, let's fucking do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was actually going to start a company. We were going to make money.
What?
And I was going to make you president, Travis.
Sick.
So what do
So
you
why
say?
aren't you going to make the company?
We're going to sell lots of shit.
Oh, dude, we gonna sell ham?
We're going to specialize in hamburgers, stocks,
Sick.
options,
NFTs.
NFTs,
Grapes.
apparel. We're
Vape
gonna make
cartridges.
Nikes. Okay?
Sick.
What do you
I'm
think?
on board, dude.
All
I'm
right, that's
definitely on
awesome.
board.
See, you're smarter than Sagan already.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So at this time, we're talking, he's still working at Harvard here. He's licking his wounds from being beat out by Flipper in the hunt for Clunge. But now he's Harvard's most eligible bachelor, right? So he's getting blazed, he's getting high. He's like, hell yeah, dude. I'm like so in with the times of the 60s. So he gets himself an artist wife. He went with a scientist
Big
wife,
mistake.
artist wife. Wife number 2, Linda Salzman, was married in 1960. They were married in 1968.
So I assume they kissed.
Yeah, well, they kissed. They probably kissed and drew pictures while they were smoking weed cigarettes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you ask if like, hey, are you like into dolphins? I mean, I think they're fascinating. No, like, are you into dolphins?
Do you like to be penetrated?
It was a
by
problem with my
dolphins?
ex. She was really into dolphins.
And
Yeah,
it was a problem with me. She wasn't my ex. I just creeped over her.
He asked that question while opening a can of tuna fish with Japanese writing on it and just started eating.
Yeah. She's like, dolphin free. Too bad.
So they were married in 1968. That same year, Sagan was rejected for his tenure at Harvard. It was probably because he was getting dank, and people were like, this guy's too cool for Harvard.
If this guy worked out one day, he would have had that job.
Got to go back to Berkeley.
Well, he was scooped up by Tommy Gold, who worked for Cornell University in Ithaca, New York.
Okay.
I've heard it's gorgeous there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the movie Road Trip. It takes place in Ithaca, so that's all I've seen.
That was a one stop and run. I've never actually seen Road Trip.
Beautiful
Wait, is that
movie.
the Daddy Would You Like Some Sausage, Tom Green?
I think so. Yeah, it's where you're trying to feed that snake the whole time, but it won't eat anything. Beautiful movie.
All right, good.
Well,
figured it out.
yeah. Carl
It's in
saw,
Ithaca.
Carl saw the appeal. That was actually one of the reasons why he went to Ithaca, because he's like, I don't know if I want to go here. And Tommy Gold's like, look how pretty it is, dude. And then he also promised that he would build Carl a astronomy lab, and he got that. So that helps.
That's cool.
And that's the end of our kind of weed section. Then we'll go move on to working with the big old NASA.
Right.
So as I mentioned, Carl had been working with NASA since his time in Berkeley in the 1960s, since 1960. And he was absolutely thrilled with the fact that Kennedy made a commitment to put a man on the moon in 1969. And that time had come.
Of course, Kennedy, a sex addict, was like, 1969, baby, it's going to happen. Take him to the moon.
Take him to the moon. And then flash forward, Kardashian ruins the dress that he boned someone in. There you go.
Oh,
Took me a
are
second.
you really getting hung up on like fashion news of today?
Yes.
Who gives a shit? These people are all scum. It's a dress. Who cares?
It's got cum stains on it from fucking 60 years ago.
Yeah. Kennedy come, dude. You could
That's
clone
actually good.
Kennedy from that dress.
Some guy whose
You
first
could
name was
clone
Lorm.
him from the brain splatter.
Yeah, that too.
Clone him from the tarmac in Dallas.
Pretty sure it was a paid actor.
of samples.
So Sagan had been working with NASA at the time of the moon launch, but I think NASA at this point was like, maybe we don't want this guy, because Sagan was obsessed with the sterilization of the spacecraft and the quarantine of all things that came back from the moon.
Oh.
So just like real boring.
And they were like, that's just
Too much
white
work.
sand up there.
Yeah. Well, Sagan at this point was 99% sure that there was no life on the moon, but he still wanted NASA to be careful because, you don't want to get moon plague.
Right. And all of a sudden we got Spider-Man because you brought back some moon
The
shit.
symbiote.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd want to stop that from happening.
You mean Venom?
Spider-Man.
Mobius. What is Morpheus? What's that movie?
Symbiote.
Morbius. It's more than
Morpheus
time.
is the black guy in the
Lawrence Fishburne. The Matrix.
Lawrence Fishburne.
He also came from
played
the
by
moon
Cal-
as well.
Cowboy Curtis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the new Matrix?
No.
It was whatever.
Because my dad's a boomer, I'm part boomer, so like I love the original Matrix so much. The two after are just crushing, so bad, and then I couldn't bring myself to watch the new one. I was upset.
I wouldn't say being a boomer makes you like the Matrix. The Matrix
I like
seems
the
more
Matrix
like a
too,
Gen
so.
X.
Yeah.
That's like a Gen
Yeah,
X.
like
That's the last.
A boomer is anyone that's like over the age of 31.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. So Tom's a boomer.
Yeah, I'm a boomer now. This is true, and that's fine. That's how I live my life, I suppose.
yeah.
What am I, a Zoomer? Right?
Yeah, you're a zoomer.
No, Mike's a millennial.
Millennial?
What
He has a memory of 9/11. That makes him a millennial.
is that? The
Yeah.
That's
new
my
one?
that's my unofficial call.
I was there.
Mike was
Yeah,
there.
Well, I'm
there,
actually a
He buried a
millennial,
Gilgo
but
body and then went and did 9/11.
That's awesome.
Dude, if I had been on that plane, man, I won't even say what would have happened. If I
Grant,
was on
we're all
that plane.
thinking what you're
would have
saying.
happened to those people.
Dude.
You don't need to say anymore. I'm thinking. I know how strong you are.
Yeah.
So,
You and
I mean,
Just
they wouldn't
forget
have
it.
stood a chance.
No,
You-
you probably would have been able to stop two planes at once.
you and Seth MacFarlane, man, you guys
Clip
should
the
have
other
got
one
on that
as a
plane.
Me and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
That's all that needed to happen. Anyway,
Yeah, so
fortunately.
so Carl's being all downer, right? He's like, you got to sterilize. You don't want moon bugs to come back. And NASA and the politicians were like, no way, we're sending our boys up to the moon, and they're not coming back treated as heroes. We're gonna have them parading through the streets. We're gonna be doing all this shit. We don't care about germs. What the fuck is that shit? Sagan pressed the issue, just really annoying about this containment and sterilization. And eventually, they kind of met in the middle. They had him land, in the ocean,
Hose
and
it
they
off.
were, contained for a little bit. But NASA also decided to just send out lunar samples across the globe without checking any diseases or anything like that. They just here's some moon dust. We're going to send it to Switzerland. We're sending it to Japan, Australia.
We deloused our heroes, but
Yeah.
gosh, we're just putting it everywhere.
Sagan, unfortunately, would not be able to attend the launch as he basically lost the ability, his esophagus lost the ability to move food down its throat.
Oh,
He couldn't do the wiggles in the esophagus.
Was he just too high and he kind of forgot how to swallow?
I think that was it, dude.
It won't go down, man.
I'm thinking too much about it.
I forgot.
Does it really need to go down? Apparently they said his throat kind of looked like a frog because it was just collecting food. Jeez. Yeah.
It's apparently Elvis had 4 months worth of fecal matter in him when he died.
Because he was on so much barbiturates, right?
Yeah, it just stopped him up so bad. Carl Sagan had 4 months worth of food in his gullet.
Gosh, what's he?
It's how you attract mates. That's what he was doing. He was smart. He was ahead of his time. He went, the frogs do this, and I haven't had any luck with these dolphin ladies.
Do you want to mate with me? I could feed the whole litter.
Right, so he watched the lunar landing of Billy Joel Armstrong walking on the moon, just as the state Mike is in right now, all in a post-op drug haze.
yes.
Yeah,
Did anyone DVR it for him?
yeah, TiVo'd.
Nice.
Lit.
By the end of 1969, Sagan had recovered from his throat disease thing. And NASA was getting ready to launch Pioneer 10, which would go through the asteroid belt to Jupiter and then be flung off into the emptiness of space. Take pictures and data of those planets. Carl argued... Actually, Carl was the person that helped argue to NASA that the most economic way to explore the solar system was unmanned. So he kind of just made space exploration boring again. It's we want to see men on moon or women on moon.
Yeah, we don't care
Yeah.
about mankind's life. We just want to see them walking around, playing golf.
Yeah, dude. Imagine they put Arnold Palmer on Mars.
That'd be fucking dope.
Why not?
Sick.
Way better.
Is he still 99 cents?
Nope. $1.29.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Is that
Dude,
a
inflation's
galaxy
getting fucking
inflation?
crazy, man.
Yeah,
Galaxy
dude.
inflation. I love that. I've heard several people reference just yo, dude, this shit's still 99 cents after all these times. It's just it's worth nothing. It's piss. It's piss in a can. It's worth
It's
the
the
value of a
aluminum
can.
is the most valuable
Yeah.
part of that.
The markup on this is incredible to begin with. It was in 1996 when they started.
I went to
The
a
fuck you
deli to
talking
try to
about?
charge me $4 for an Arizona. I almost lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, South Shore delis are vicious, right?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that's terrible.
So Carl was approached to create a message to stow aboard Pioneer 10 if anyone or anything found the probe after it had been flung off into space. Carl did note that it was going into literally a void, nowhere near anything. But he's
Is it
like,
still there?
Oh yeah, dude, it's out in space somewhere.
You can follow it. There's a thread
Really?
following it all the way up.
Yeah,
Just pull it.
if you
Oh,
pull
you
it,
mother! I think like a thread, like a forum.
Yeah, there's also a forum. It's just pictures of his ex-girlfriend jerking off dolphins.
Well, I
Well,
want to see that.
so Sagan and Drake worked together, the guy Frank Drake,
Drizzy.
to create a plaque that could be understood by the aliens. They made a what they called a pulsar map, which basically it was the only way that extraterrestrials would be able to kind of determine where Earth was based on pulsars, which are, I believe, two suns spinning around really fast together, two stars. And Sagan's wife, Linda, remember the artist pothead lady, Sagan was like, hey, could you draw a naked man and woman so the aliens know what we look like, dude? That'd be sick.
Sure.
Just in case they want to come and jerk us off.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll draw me naked. Can we find someone else? Not you? Someone with a throat?
What about that peasant girl that we saw?
Yeah.
Big
How would you do
titties.
2 chicks making out? That's what we look like.
Well,
Put a
so
dolphin in there.
she drew a man and a woman, both naked. The
Having
man
sex.
is waving, and the woman's standing next to her.
Is the man flaccid or erect?
Soft. He's very soft.
He's in between.
Cut or uncut?
Hard to tell. Hard to
Bushes?
tell.
Yeah, definitely bush back
No,
then.
no bush. No bush.
No
dude.
bush?
They're-
Inaccurate.
Yeah, they're
Inaccurate.
clean.
Oh my god!
They're
The man
clean.
is waving and the woman is what? At an ironing board?
She's kind of
Sandwich.
so Linda being a very woke individual.
Progressive.
She tried to represent all ethnicities in the features of the man and woman.
Too woke.
Yeah.
I don't. It's ruining my children that I don't have. My cats. My cats don't need to know
Yeah.
how woke this is.
But when it was just etched onto a plaque, they just look white, like white people. I mean, like she drew it in color where it was like, oh look, he's got the man has a fro, but then they didn't fill it in, so it's just like
Look,
oh, he
one
looks
side
like a
of his
regular-
nose is narrow and the other side's wide.
Yeah. So Pioneer 10 launched in 1972, and you as it is today, I'm sure you see it, Grant, with the rage of the internet. There's rage about this plaque, right?
I've been on it.
Yeah. So
Not on the plaque on the internet.
They modeled the guy after you, actually.
yeah.
Nice.
So the conservatives were like, that plaque has naked people on there. We can't be sending pornographic material into outer space.
Why not?
And the feminists were like, hey, why is the man waving? And also, you drew a big old dick, but where is the woman's vaginal slit? That was one of their arguments.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
Is it any?
Well, next time they do a plaque, just put an Asian on.
Yeah.
It's really encompass humankind.
Just put Johnny Sins. He's a fucking man of many trades.
That's good.
Man of the people.
Man of the people.
Exactly. He's got my vote.
Yeah, just hook up a VCR instead of a plaque
it was-
and just have it playing Johnny Sins videos.
Honestly, what they
Nice.
should do is Chris Chan should be up there because Chris Chan is the most documented human
Yes.
that's ever existed.
Good point. Good
More
point.
footage of Chris Chan than anybody else. So if you want to represent humanity,
you kind of get the
There
whole
you go.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
That would be interesting.
See,
Let's
the fun-
send Chris Chan into space.
That's
well-
not a bad idea either. There's no mother's friend to rape.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Just giant slingshot.
Here's one of them. Look at this medallion.
Well, Sagan would argue is that he's already being sent off into space because every wave, I guess the internet and everything, has just been splurted out into
series
space.
of tubes.
So some alien could be watching in 100 years, Christian. This is what they're doing on Earth.
Well, isn't that that's a big part of the plot line in Contact? Is
Yeah.
that they finally get contact with the aliens and they're like, all right, so let's they're sending back a message and they decode the message and it's Hitler's address at the 1936 Berlin Games.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they're like, what is the point of this? And they're like, oh, no. It's the first thing that got out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
First thing. Yeah, that's what.
Sure.
So he started with.
You know what they call YouTube in outer space?
Tube Ube.
I have no idea.
Them tube.
Oh, damn.
Mm.
It's them to their perspective. I see what you mean. History.
It's
History.
Yeah, I mean it's all around us.
We're living in it.
That's right.
All right. So Sagan had been the face of NASA and space exploration for a while now. Whenever the news needed to talk to somebody about space, they're not going to turn to the Christian scientists, right? Like these weird
The Chris Chan scientists. Yeah. Go ahead.
ones
Yeah.
that are scientists of Christian, right? They're going to talk to the charming Sagan, right? He's wearing his turtleneck. He's printing books about the cosmos.
This
He's
dude ever go to Area
well-spoken.
51 at all? He's ever
You know
Keep
he
his
was
head in
there,
there?
dude. You know he was there.
at S4?
Yeah. Sagan was also featured in Rolling Stone. He was on Jimmy Carson in the Dick Cavett show. He was really the first celebrity scientist. And this all kinds of starts to kick off in 1972. He also got himself a Porsche with the vanity plates Phobos on them.
That's fucking dope.
Cool.
Phobos.
The Greek god of fear.
Yeah,
Rules the battlefield.
one of the moons of Mars. Phobos.
Weird thing to put on a Porsche.
Yeah. Usually just like my Porsche.
Yeah.
Well,
Or I'm a dickhead.
Yeah.
Science man. Turtleneck.
Jerk me.
What do we got, Travis?
So
Tell us more.
Carl's big
He's a celebrity.
moment. Carl's big moment was when NASA announced the Viking mission to Mars. This was where Carl was finally going to find out if there was life on Mars and in our solar system. He's like, dude, they're going to go to Mars. So he gets to work in his lab. He tries to produce amino acids and proteins using primordial gases and electricity. It's like, oh, this is how it happened in the beginning. Probably happened on Mars too. And leading up to the 1976 Viking missions, images and data came back from the Martian surface from probes, and Sagan started speculating about all sorts of wild creatures living on Mars. Things like massive tentacled phages, or these things that look like artichokes.
Phages. How do you spell that? Are you pronouncing that right?
With a PH, like a
Oh, I thought it was
macrophage.
Yeah.
And he also had this dude like sketch out all these like Jim Henson looking fucking creatures, and he talked about a Goldilocks zone in Jupiter's atmosphere of things that would float up, like their life was just about floating up in the atmosphere, and then once they reached like the point where they couldn't live, they'd die. I don't know. Really high, smooth brain shit.
Awesome. Good.
I love that that's just like what science like used to be. That you just like whatever. It's like anybody ever take or know anybody that took like organic chemistry? Everybody that I know that took organic chemistry took it like 3 times because it's like an impossibly hard class, because it's like you're doing chemistry and biology and like an insane amount of math, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Everybody got a 30 on this test, like a 30% on this test, because like, and they had to curve it an insane amount because it's an impossible fucking thing. And he's like, yeah, the aliens, they probably have tentacles, and we'll just mix some gases together. That'll create an amino. Like, fuck it, whatever. Just, yeah, like whatever.
So
In those
Grant-
classes, do they grade like renderings of the aliens? Like, there's a professor walking around and go, that creature, there's no way his skin would be so pink like that.
I drew a little
Think about the
jellyfish.
surface of the moon.
Yeah. No, Grant, it's funny that you say that, because that's kind of what a lot of other scientists thought of Carl Sagan. They were like, dude, this guy's just like a creative director. Like, he's like, he never did any of the number.
He's a Disney Imagineer.
Yeah, like when we're talking about these landings and like all this shit, like there's people doing hard calculations and like all the fucking science.
Right,
and he's
right.
there. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a squid that we're gonna find there.
He's in fucking Epcot being like, the dome. We're all going to live in the dome. In the future, we're all going to be under the dome.
Yeah.
The future is domes. Good point.
Yeah.
And keep going.
So the Viking landings could be an episode on its own. Basically, Carl sends this works with this other scientist to build a component on the probe to detect carbon-based life. And when the results came back negative, Carl was like, I don't know, try to water them. Like water whatever's in this, thing. Or maybe we can bait them using water. We want them aliens wet. Remember I was talking about
grow
wet
some,
aliens, right?
Like a chia plant alien, perhaps.
It's gotta
Yeah.
work. I have a plant at home.
Yeah.
I had a sunflower seed one time.
We're like one step away from being like, why don't we just send some squirrels up there and let them loose and see if that starts life up there.
Honestly, not so far.
So when like shooting the spray bottle of water didn't work, Carl was like, well, obviously, because they had like things in this bin that they had collected, and he was like, well, obviously, when we watered them, we killed whatever's in the bin, like water kills Martian creatures.
Right. But he said it all like can't believe you guys did that, even though I told you to do it. You fucking idiots. I can't swallow.
Yeah.
Do you want yesterday's dinner? It's right here.
Does anyone want to mouth kiss me? Because it's in there. I got a stink pocket for days.
Yeah. So yeah, he just couldn't accept. He kept spinning circles. He's like, "Oh, what are it? Maybe they live deeper underground. Maybe we landed in the wrong spot." But again, the whole Viking mission was really interesting. Read up on it.
So far, Carl Sagan has invented. He's invented Dianetics. He's invented the movie The Shape of Water. Now he's inventing gaslighting.
God, what would us men do without him?
Yeah.
Our three favorite things.
We love that as men.
Dude, Shape of Water, man.
Shape of Water, first handy.
Yo.
I need this to show my sensitive side.
Yeah.
And also not be called gay.
The last real major work that Carl did with NASA was on the Voyager probe, which launched in 1977. Again, Sagan was approached to create a message to the aliens if they intercept this space junk, because it's going to be jettisoned off into space. This time, they would print a golden record with both images and sounds of Earth. And it's kind of interesting because they didn't really have the technology to print images on a vinyl.
No, they
or like
didn't.
one company did, but like no one. It was like a forgotten tech that they were doing in the early '60s, and there was this whole thing to try to figure out how to do it again. It was kind of an interesting little thing. And they printed if you play the record back, because people have taken the sound waves of the record and like rebuilt the images, because like if you play the record, it just like beeps and like whistles and you like line up the sine waves and it makes an image. It's kind of cool.
But didn't they put like some Beatles song on there or something else?
Here Comes the Sun.
Ooh, we're gonna. Wow.
Spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah, the creative director for this project was Anne Druyan, and she and Carl went in a small team, went about collecting the sounds and the music from around the world, as well as recorded messages from representatives of the UN. Now, Carl wanted to make sure that all types of music were represented on this disc. And so when it came to the rock section, Carl immediately went to the Beatles, said, "We want to do Here Comes the Sun." Problem was that the Beatles didn't own their music, and they were trying to contact John Lennon, but he was currently not living in the U.S. because he was dodging tax. So they couldn't really get in touch with him. Jefferson Starship jumped in and were like, "Hey, we'll give you a song for free." And Carl was like, "No, thank you."
No.
You built this city.
We're good, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Also, we're trying to get this Beatles one because then it's all the Indian music as well. We
Yeah.
can ignore that.
Trying to knock
place.
two birds with one
Yeah.
stone.
So
Like Paul's
Anne,
dead backwards.
Anne was like, "I know the perfect like rock song that like kind of embodies rock and roll," and she played "Johnny Be Good" for Carl. And Carl was like, "This is garbage."
Was it the Marty McFly?
Wow.
Was it the Marty McFly version?
Yeah,
Your kids are gonna love
a
it.
little early.
He straight up said that was garbage.
Yeah, he
Didn't
hated
he
it.
like Chuck Berry like made the Beatles?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Anne's argument was like, yeah, like Chuck Berry was like a black guy and like came from like black
No,
music.
no. That's
Wait a minute.
thank you.
No, I think that's
fine.
what sold him, because he was so woke. He's like, "Oh, he's black?"
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't sound black.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was one of our previous roasts. I think it was like number 6 of what we did. Chuck Berry.
I
right?
just ran into a bud who like I haven't seen in a long time, and he listens to the show here and there. But he says he always shows people that episode because
Chuck
of the
Berry one?
Yeah, because the amount of like farting in mouths and just the insane personality of Chuck Berry. But yeah, like he really got a lot of radio play in the States because he sounded white.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Like no joke, that was a rough time for the black folks in America, and DJs were like, "I've been playing a black man."
Yeah.
I've been stymied. That's not my style.
Is that the most unrealistic part of Back to the Future? Not the time travel, but the fact that a black band was playing for the white high school?
No.
No?
No. That's actually a lot of performers would play
In
the 50s.
1955?
In the 50s, yeah.
All right.
They wouldn't be allowed to use the same bathrooms and stuff,
But
but
they could entertain the
Yeah.
whites.
had that.
Okay.
It was like seen as help almost, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad. It's like a minstrel quality that they saw in like black performers.
So it's
where it's just like, oh,
it's
that's
not-
good on stage,
Not
but
inaccurate,
not
just
down here.
really racist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very racist. It's like, yeah, don't be out on the dance floor. Stay there. We're gonna clap for you, and it will be fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
So
Sorry for the tangent.
ultimately, Johnny Be Good was a song that was printed to represent rock music on this record, which also caused some controversy because Chuck Berry we know his checkered past of avoiding taxes, and we didn't know at this point that he had cameras set up in a bathroom looking at women pooping, but
Yeah, well, that was in the 80s.
yeah.
Yeah,
But we didn't know
Southern-
that people were like, you can't send a tax dodger music into space. What if aliens hear that you don't have to pay tax?
He's dodging taxes. You know, he's not dodging women's mouths with his southern wind.
And of course, on this record, there was a picture of a naked man and a naked woman. And again, this caused issues. This time they drew a woman that was pregnant to be like, hey, look, babies come out of the woman. And one of the NASA members pointed out that, some people find pregnant women erotic. I don't know if we should have this.
Not me. No, I swear, guys, not me.
I mean,
I'll take that one home if you replace it with a regular one.
if you put a big old belly on there like that, I don't know. You
Is
send
she
that
pregnant?
to space. Aliens gonna see that and they're gonna go,
Rock hard.
all the women down there are fat.
Maybe they're chubby chasers. But how you know they're not chubby chasers?
Oh well, we can only hope they are.
They
We
slap
can
the old
only
belly.
hope they are.
And chub it.
Pregnant is a beautiful thing.
All
I'm
right.
pregnant.
Yeah, that's kind of where we could leave off for this section.
All right.
That works for me.
Yeah.
I had enough terrible jokes in there.
So yeah, we're gonna keep going, but thank you, Grant, for
I
joining
look
us.
forward to listening to the rest of the episode, even though my sultry voice won't be a part of it. But I'll come back on anytime y'all need me for that James Joyce episode, or whoever. I don't care.
We're gonna start earlier for you next time. Sorry we started so late.
Oh
man.
no, it's all good. It happens. We've done the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, Grant, thanks again, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me
Thanks
on.
for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Anytime.
talking animal boners.
Yeah, I'll do it with the best of them.
Awesome.
All right.
Take it easy.
All right. See you, man.
See ya.
Bye. All right, so the one big thing to come out of the Voyager record was that Sagan had fallen in love with the creative director, Anne. Now, Anne had a boyfriend, and Carl was still married to Linda. So things were a bit awkward.
Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean he can't score.
Well, Carl proposed to Anne that they
Oh.
ought to get married and that he would divorce Linda, but they had to wait until the Voyager launched because NASA could pull the plug on the record if they found out that the creative director and the lead scientist were having an affair and there's already naked people on the fucking record. And
It's
Why do I feel like I've seen this this is like a movie?
This is a drunk history episode.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is it
really?
This part of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like this sounds so familiar.
So was the dolphin fucking thing. That's how I knew about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Dolphin was new to me. I was like, damn.
I had no idea Carl Sagan was involved, but
I
that
didn't
John
know Carl
Lilly guy,
Sagan
I
was
watched a
involved, yeah.
documentary on
Yeah.
him. Wow. But anyway, continue, Travis. So you have Scandal.
Yeah, so that's what they did. They waited for the probe to launch, and then Carl was like, yo, Linda, we're getting a divorce.
And I'm getting married.
I'm getting married.
Aren't you happy for me?
Yeah.
By the way, your record's gay.
Now, this was not a very clean divorce. Linda would
took
fight
everything?
him for a lot of things, follow him around. In fact, one of the things, they had like a conversation about who got what, and she was like, Carl, you just need to give me more babies. I need more babies. I don't care if we get divorced.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hot.
Did she want smart kids?
I guess so. Little
That
brainy
sucks.
boys.
Smart kids are terrible.
Now,
Like,
I would
kinda
know. I was a
retarded.
smart kid.
Yeah, dude. What did your parents think of you when you were like 6?
Weirdo.
Yeah.
yeah.
Why is this kid watching the History Channel?
Your dad has gotten drunk several times around me. It's just like this fucking kid. He'd be at a restaurant with us, and he'd order lobster.
It was mussels.
Mussels.
Yeah.
Yeah, mussels.
They
Like
give me a kid's menu and I'd
7-year-olds.
scoff. I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Ha!"
History Channel was dope back in the day. Ain't gonna lie.
Oh man.
Now it's all garbage, but
Talking History Channel out of nowhere.
Well, see,
Mar-
Connor,
Marvels.
Connor, I
You're not
knew
wrong.
I knew we shared something in common because I was a seafood boy as a child as well. I remember a similar story with my dad. He's like, the waiter, we had a kids table, and the waiter came over and was like, "Your son wants to order soft shell crab. Can I get it for him?"
I like sushi.
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah. Well, you are still a kid,
I was educated.
educated child. Babylon
Yeah.
sushi.
So Carl was never much of a family man. He had these 2 boys from the first marriage, Dorian and Jeremy. They were all but forgotten. Carl was busy doing other things. Lynn actually had trouble getting child support for one of the boys, Jeremy, and Carl proposed that Jeremy was not even his biological son.
Damn, that has to hurt.
That's how you know he's smart.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
scummy, right?
Doesn't look like my son.
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like he swallows perfectly every time.
Let's go to Maury.
Here,
Find out the bottom of this shit.
hand him this soft pretzel. See how
Yeah.
he does. I can barely handle these things. They're so chewy.
So when he left Linda, he had another son named Nick, and Anne made sure after Anne and Carl were married in 1981, Anne was like, dude, like you already fucked up 2 kids, like stay in contact with at least this last boy from your last marriage. So Anne kind of forced his hand to kind of do that.
That's fucked.
And now we're going to move on to our 4th area, celebrity scientist, because this guy just does everything.
Of course.
He's a fucking Chad.
Now, although Sagan officially worked for Cornell University, he was hardly there. You know, it was a kind of a joke from students. They'd use Carl to like get people to go to their school, and then no one ever saw him. There was like things about, did you touch Carl? You know?
Right. Well, I mean,
Carl touch you?
But that happens today too. Like, you know, with Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's like, you know, was he the director at the
Planetarium.
Hayden Planetarium?
Yeah, Columbia,
It's just
right?
like I'm sure he's never there. He's out doing rounds and shit, and at every other science place.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fucking title.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
these government subsidized like education jobs, they don't do anything.
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson was very, like, I mean, he looked up to Sagan, and that's what Sagan was doing. He's off doing interviews and actually doing science and, like, doing all these things.
Yeah.
And so Neil deGrasse Tyson actually met Sagan when he was looking for schools. He came up from, I think he was in the Bronx or Brooklyn, and he met Sagan, and Sagan, like, gave him a ride to the bus station and was like, "Hey, yeah, you should come to Cornell," but you know, he didn't go there.
I don't know where that guy went.
Yeah.
I know I listened to his podcast a few times, and it's fucking terrible.
I think he went to Princeton. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Princeton or Columbia.
Yeah.
I went
So
to
I-
community college.
Yeah. As I mentioned, Carl was already like a news scientist. He was done for all these outlets. He also published books. The Dragons of Eden that came out in 1977 won a Pulitzer. He was also friends with Isaac Asimov, who wrote I, Robot and Bicentennial Man. He's another professor at Harvard.
Isaac Asimov was a cool dude.
Yeah.
Was he?
I don't know. I mean, he wrote some sweet books.
They didn't even become an after him in CS:GO. The Asimov.
Although I thought
Skin.
I, Robot was a pretty terrible movie.
I, Robot is a good movie.
No way.
See, this is a Zoomer versus a Boomer
I
moment.
saw that shit in the movie theater in 2005.
I liked when they were like, "I'm gonna turn this into a manual drive car," and then
Yeah,
he was
sick.
able to use a steering wheel. That was so
I thought that was
tight.
dope.
That was sick.
Oh, right.
He busts out the Chuck
I
Taylors.
was like, "That's the lamest thing."
Yeah.
That's so lame. He's like, "I got a Lexus that looks like a booger."
That thing was dope.
That thing was a booger.
So Carl's
Fuck
third
you
wife.
guys.
Yeah, Carl's.
But how is this dude a bad dude, Travis? I'm still waiting for him to be a bad person.
He wasn't a bad
He-
person.
he
I was
wasn't
just
a bad
asking
person.
Connor. Though Connor said he was a cool dude because of the books he wrote. You said you liked the movie. I said
I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the guy
I
we're
said
talking
Oh,
about.
under my
Sagan?
breath that
Yeah, how is Sagan a bad guy?
He already
I don't-
cheated on his wife with
That's
someone
not-
in a relationship.
doesn't
and
cheat on their
dated
wife?
a 16-year-old.
He hates his
Who doesn't hate
kids.
their kids? My dad hates me. I'm kind of right.
Look, I'm not even saying Sagan's a bad guy. He's
Yeah.
just a nerd.
I think when
I want to beat him up, you know?
I do want to like see what like weird sexual things he's in. I know he's definitely in this, I know the dolphin thing, but it's definitely something else.
Yeah, he's into
Deep
hand
down.
jobs.
Oh yeah,
That
I'm sure
sucks.
he's into
Ooh.
like weird tantric shit that like they were into in the 70s and 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you wear these tentacles and
Yeah.
talk to me in a different language?
I don't want you to throw this fishnet on top of me. I'm going to lay inside of you for an hour.
What
Get a
man
whisper
likes
thing.
hand jobs from another person? I hate hand jobs.
Dolphin men.
Yeah, dolphin
Yeah.
boys.
I'll
Guys
do
are
it
into
myself.
scientists who like
Yeah.
the tactile experience.
Fuck.
So
They're
Carl,
like, the mouth is for talking, and the other thing is for
I want the dolphin to
children,
nibble on me.
and the anus is for duty poo-poo. So in that case, I would like to use something with a more multi-purpose tactical feature, such as a hand, to really pull the cum out of my pink.
yeah, you got to pull it out.
Yeah.
Jerky.
They like it because it's practical, it's efficient, it could hit the spots better. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should like it. You're not a science man.
I know. That's why
You're
I'm special.
so
I'm a special
so
ed teacher.
So Carl's third wife, Anne, was a media lady, right? She was a creative director. She was like involved in the media. So he went from
Awesome.
scientist
news.
wife, artist wife, media wife.
Lit.
Yeah. So Carl, she was like, Carl, you got to make like a series and like teach everyone about all you know about space. You know so much about space. Thus, Cosmos: A Personal Journey was born in 1980. That's the big one that everyone knows Carl Sagan from, right? I mean, I feel like if he did anything, and I know, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I know it inspired a lot of kids to get into science,
Right, and then look at where we are now,
Yeah.
making up fake
TikToks.
diseases,
We've got
and shutting
great
down
science.
countries
Yeah.
for science.
I've got
Exactly.
swag disease.
Exactly. Swag diseases.
Yeah,
We should replace oxygen with swag.
Yeah.
Oh no. That was a humor joke that you guys don't get.
no,
that.
I don't get it at all. I just know Island Boys.
You might know that, Connor. You ever seen those memes? That we should replace oxygen with swag.
No.
Is that like no cap bussin'?
Yeah, it's like before that. It was like the
okay.
the dude with the obey snapback. It's hard. I'm never. You know what? Explaining a meme is retarded. So
Yeah.
continue. Travis.
Yeah.
I was going to let you do it, but
Yeah,
I'm glad
I'm
you
not
stopped.
gonna- I'm not
That's
gonna
very
do-
boomer
yeah.
energy. So.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that to you.
You ever
guys.
seen a meme with the duck on
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
It
I'm not
says
gonna-
something up top and the bottom says something else.
Continue, Travis. You're derailed here.
So they hired this BBC director, Adrian Malone, who was pretty much the BBC version of Epstein. They like to touch butts and shit.
That's great.
And him and Carl often butted heads. Like when Carl forced the entire crew to sit through a series of lectures so they knew the subjects that they were filming.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
If he was a really good teacher, they would have learned while making the program.
Right?
Yes.
That's true. Hey, do it twice. You never forget.
So, when you watch Cosmos, it's a lot of like Carl Sagan just like making weird faces and like floating around space in the spaceship. The goal of the Cosmos was to create the same level of effects as Star Wars, which had just come out. And they're like,
well,
Malone
that
was-
failed.
Yeah, Malone. This is PBS, mind you. So,
Was it BBC
budget.
or PBS?
PBS. Yeah.
Okay.
They hired a guy who worked for the BBC.
Oh, okay.
But Malone was smart enough to be like, hey, the only way people are going to watch this thing is that if it looks like Star Wars. And, I mean, if you look at the original Star Wars, it was pretty close. They were using tennis balls and shit. You can't even find the original
You mean
version
Star
of Star
Trek?
Wars. No, Star Wars.
Okay.
Wait,
You
like the one, like the A New Hope.
Yeah, but see, the thing is like, unless if you have a recorded version of the TV, like when it was remastered in the 90s, they did a really good job scrubbing the original Star Wars
Really?
with the effects. Yeah.
I
Had the
did not know
VHS
that.
tapes back
Yeah,
in the
like
day.
literally you can see tennis balls in some of the space scenes.
I can imagine that.
Unless if you have like a recorded off TV version from the 90s or like literally an old VHS, you're not going to find it anywhere.
I had the box set, the 3 box set.
That was probably
the
from-
remaster.
Probably the first remaster.
Yeah.
All right. Well, interesting to know that.
We're
not
wish
so
I
old
still had
after
those.
all.
Yeah. So Cosmos was a cultural milestone, not to be confused with the remake they did with the Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, which is, I don't know, just kind of sucked.
Yeah, that was just like the smug fest.
Yeah, so that was also, I think, produced by Anne, his third wife.
Oh, well, she could
Yeah,
suck a dead dick. I don't give a shit.
yeah. Carl tried to cash out on this series by opening up Cosmos stores, which sold like sciencey things.
Like microscopes?
Yeah, like this ultimately failed, but I think, what was it, the nature store? You remember those growing up? Like where it was like it
Rainforest
sold
Cafe?
science kind of things at the mall.
I do,
Brookstone?
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a Brookstone. Yeah, close to Brookstone. Yeah, that's
As
the
seen on
relaxation
TV?
center.
Yeah.
Like that store.
So I mentioned this part. Like push came to shove, with the science community kind of started to see Carl as more of like a guy that would he wouldn't do the science. He just kind of had these stoned man-child ideas, and this really kind of solidified it with the Cosmos. They're like, you're not doing anything. And now our final thing to talk about: the stinky old liberal. We're talking about a stinky old liberal. So. Carl had become politically active, or he always was politically active, mind you. He had actually met with several presidents. One president that had the most amount of questions for him was Jimmy Carter, who believed he had seen a UFO.
Yeah, well, you know what? He did. It's not a belief. Dude, he's out there picking peanuts harder than anyone else. He saw some shit.
Yeah.
And he was very open about it before he was even elected president.
That's true.
Guys, Jimmy Carter was the shit.
Probably the most trustworthy president we've had.
That really
Whether or
didn't
not
do
he was
much.
a good president,
Yeah.
I won't say or not.
Yeah, trustworthy, absolutely.
Trustworthy, yeah.
Yeah.
He wore it on his face.
Talking
Bill
about
Clinton.
a not trustworthy president. In the 1980s, the Reagans had invited Carl to dinner multiple times, and Carl refused on principle.
Not unless I get a blowjob from Nancy. Am I?
The throat.
Didn't he have
goat.
the Star Wars program, Reagan?
Yeah,
That was his whole
Carl
shit.
was very much against the Star Wars program.
Why?
Because his new mission was nuclear disarmament.
Oh.
And the way that he saw it was that Star Wars would just escalate the problem.
Yes, yeah.
If you have someone that can disarm blow up the nuke in space, then they're just going to come up with better ways to blow each other up.
Or they're going to test it out, see if it works.
Right. So he thought that the amount of megatons that both the Soviets and the U.S., their arsenals could end civilization and to stop us from becoming a Type 1 civilization, because we were on a route to do that. With the help of some computer scientists, Sagan formed TAPS with 2 T's. Didn't write down what that was. It's not really important. I'm sure it's something stupid. Using the computer program, they demonstrated scenarios that would cause a nuclear winter. Unfortunately, these calculations were not very accurate at all. And even though, yes, a nuclear war would be catastrophic to the environment, Sagan's results were like very conflated. He was like, we're never going to see the sun ever again. And basically what happened like during the Persian Gulf when like Saddam like burned all the oil fields, they're like, that would be kind of the effect of the amount of smoke that would be released from like some of these scenarios you were proposing, Carl, and like we didn't, like all of our crops didn't die around the world.
But Carl's out there smoking weed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm on TV. Where are they going to trust?
Well, his nuclear winter public announcement and the fact that he had snubbed the Reagans would bite Carl back in his booty hole, mainly because Ronald Reagan was a petty, whiny bitch. Because the Cosmos was such a big hit, and Carl were working on another series called Nucleus with ABC. And Reagan met with one of the higher-ups at ABC. They had mentioned Carl was working on his next show that was going to include stuff about the nuclear winter, and Reagan had the exec kill the show in the cradle. He's like, you probably don't want to put that out.
Oh, well, that's why you always respect all of your presidents.
Classic
Every
Ronnie
time.
using his
Yeah.
Hollywood connections.
Yeah.
Remember your principles? Those are there to fuck you.
Yeah. Another big moment where Reagan interfered with something that would have been pretty cool. I guess Carl had changed his mind on sending probes, and he was like, we need to land a man on Mars. So they had this joint meeting of cooperation between the U.S. and the Soviets in the late 80s, and scientists from both sides of the Iron Curtain were advocating for a joint mission to Mars, like an actual person landing on Mars.
Oh, man.
And things were going really great, and it looked like the U.S. and Russia were going to send a manned mission to Mars. Then Reagan was talking to one of the diplomats, and they mentioned that Carl Sagan was the leader of the U.S. scientists that were pushing this movement, and Reagan pulled the rug out from a manned mission to Mars.
Boo.
Oh,
Just another reason I hate Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
no, it's another reason to go to dinner with Ronald Reagan. Just go. Like, what's the big deal? He's just inviting you. You can eat whatever you want. It's the White House.
I want to
Like,
see him at the
you
Rainforest
don't have
Cafe.
to agree with me leaving. It's like not that bad. Just a fucking. But it's like, you know what? Fuck you, man. You think you're that fucking cool because you got a show where they have special effects? Fuck you.
It's the small talk you got to make
And
at
I'm
dinner.
not a big Reagan fan myself, but honestly, if I was him, I'd do the same shit. Oh, you're too cool to show up here?
No one's going to Mars. Then.
No one's going
Fuck
to Mars.
Fuck
Yeah.
Mars is fucking lame as shit.
Ain't shit there anyway.
So in the early 90s, this is when Sagan started to get really out there. He got into the idea of testosterone poisoning.
Oh, Red Bull.
So this is the this is the theory that men are born with a poison in them called testosterone, and it was the source of all violence and insanity in the world.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is you know,
That's where you get that demon out. That's what
That-
the priests talk about.
that is very in the liberal narrative.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Yeah. One
I was gonna say something crazy. I'm gonna say it.
Say it right now.
No, I ain't saying it.
Why is it bad?
Continue, Travis.
All right, it's bad.
You get that
Oh.
testosterone psychosis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh,
All right, never mind.
so Carl
Shit.
It's funny. One last kind of point about Carl and his late in life is that even though he had tried to cash out on the Cosmos store, as he got older, he started to become very anti-capitalism. And his son Dorian actually mentioned how stupid it was watching Anne and Carl discuss like the positives of Marxism while jet setting from like 5-star hotel to 5-star hotel. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it's scientists, people, they live
Yeah.
in their head. They're
Right.
fucking retarded.
well, anyway,
Like I'm sure he had no idea how to use a hammer.
He
yeah,
didn't know how to
probably.
cook his own food.
Yeah, he didn't
like,
wanna
this
get
guy's-
dressed.
Like he was brilliant into his 30s, and then like just rode this wave of like celebrity science shit. He's
Yeah.
useless. Like we'd be fine without him.
Well, I think it was a little. Yeah, I think it was a little later. I think until the 70s, he was like legitimately doing science, and then he just kind of decided to
Stepped out.
become a political advocate. You know.
Lame.
So
State of science.
So him keeping in mind now he's like a Marxist boy and socialism. Apple was working on the Power Macintosh 7100 in 1994, which I think was one of the first computers I really like remember. My dad got one of them. So they codenamed the computer Carl Sagan. You know, this was an internal code. They weren't going to like release it as the Carl Sagan. You know, they named bullshit stuff. Right? Like the Dolphin was Nintendo 64 or something because I love penis. Carl found out that his name was being used by Apple and issued a cease and desist.
Oh, God, what a nerd.
Yeah.
It's not even a public thing.
No. Apple complied and then changed the name of the code name of the Power Mac to Butthead Astronomer or BHA.
That's funny, actually.
Awesome.
For that, Sagan sent them to court for libel.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
what a
Oh,
baby.
my God.
Yeah. Sagan
I know they're
lost.
talking about him still.
Yeah, Sagan lost in court, and then turned around and sued them for using his name originally. So he lost for the Butthead Astronomer, and then he sued them for calling it Carl Sagan, and then lost again.
Yeah, because there's no legal damage done at all. That's not a published name. That's a code name. You
Yeah.
could use code names are everything goes.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's all inside institution.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap
Great.
this all up. Sagan had always had medical issues. I mentioned the throat thing. He had some surgery where they literally had to open his chest up while he was awake for a week or something. He literally had his rib cage opened up.
Blade 2.
Yeah. He also had
He
a
was
high,
doing the VFX for it.
yeah, he had high tolerance to anesthesia, so he would often wake up in the middle of surgery.
Oh, that's
So many surgeries.
Yeah.
oh my fucking god!
Look, I know you're coming in here a lot for surgeries, but there's really nothing we could do to your penis or making you more attractive anymore. We've done everything.
We've maxed it out.
Yeah.
I want you to revert it inward.
You're just going to have to be charming and more understanding and less terrible to women.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, well, I
Hand
will
job?
use my own hand.
Sagan was diagnosed with myeloplastic syndrome, which is basically cancer that chills out in your bone marrow.
Wow, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, and that was in 1995. He went to a specialist in Seattle for the last 2 years of his life. His sister gave him 3 bone marrow transplants. But in the end, it was not enough. And on December 20th, 1996, Carl died, and he returned back to the star stuff that he used to talk about, or whatever the hell that.
What's his last words? I should have had more sisters.
Yeah, more sister.
I still fucking hate that dolphin.
Yeah, fuck you, Flipper.
I can't believe my grandfather was named Lieb.
Yeah, and that's Carl Sagan. And yeah, we mentioned Contact. I actually watched it this week, but he didn't live to see. If you watch to the end, it says for Carl, and that's because he didn't live to see that movie be created. And
watched Contact.
and Francis Ford Coppola sued the Sagan estate for releasing Contact post-mortem. Because apparently he had a conversation with Carl back in the day about he was working on some project. He was you published my idea, blah 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 blah. Yeah, fuck you.
I watched
friend.
Contact on a plane. Fantastic plane movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have no idea if it's a good movie or not. Great plane movie.
Why'd you
though.
fall asleep?
No, it was just it was entertaining enough. Made the flight go faster.
It's hard to zone in when you're on a plane.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. You need something to grab your attention.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was, what is it? Jodie Foster.
Yeah, it's Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. Robert.
And Matthew McConaughey is playing a priest.
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Robert.
So it's got hot priests and then you got hot Jodie Foster. It's a great combo. Talking
Robert
about
Robert Zemeckis coming off of Forrest Gump, so it's basically just Forrest Gump about nerds.
yeah.
Nice. No cap.
Great
that
flick.
shit about dolphins in a house and that lady jerking them off is probably one of the craziest things I've heard in a while.
Top 10
It
moments
was
of
real too. I think that's amazing that was real.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Trav, thanks for bringing this in. I'm sorry Grant had to leave so early, everyone. That's just what life does. But, Trav,
Yeah, that was interesting.
the look inside Sagan
Yeah,
head in this episode has been very interesting.
I think it was interesting digging into him because I think he did a lot of interesting things in his life in terms of I like Cosmos. I basically use Cosmos as people watch Bob Ross painting things. I'll put on the fucking Cosmos and then go to sleep.
It has that quality
Yeah.
to it, but
He's got a good voice.
Yeah,
he does. But there's a smugness about it that
yeah.
can't be escaped.
Yeah.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson definitely upped the smugness.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
So bad. I remember that one segment where he's talking about you're not actually touching each other when you make contact with a person.
He always feels like he's putting you down.
Yeah, he is. And he's also a schmuck
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
He likes wine.
I remember my favorite example of him being a schmuck was I think it was the last. Every time there's an eclipse, he tweets about it. It's just eclipse happens all the time.
Yeah.
No reason to get that worked up. There's that other phenomena in New York City where the sun sets between a couple buildings and everyone goes
Oh,
blocks up
yeah,
traffic
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit like
yeah.
that.
Manhattan Henge.
And to me, it's like the sun sets every day. You fucking idiot! Like,
Right.
you're shitting on people being psyched about the sun being blocked out by the moon or vice versa, whatever the fuck is happening there, and you're just causing all this traffic for something that happens every day
In New
Like,
York
who gives
City.
a shit? What is
Yeah.
wrong with you? Like, I don't know.
Nah.
He's a guy.
So, dude being a dude.
So that's Sagan.
Yeah, I feel a lot smarter.
Yeah, I hope you do, dude. I mean, he definitely was on a lot of painkillers, so I think you guys could relate.
Two, you can really hit it off there.
I want to fuck his dead body.
Awesome. Well, with that,
Yeah.
speaking of dead bodies, you could treat yourself to a dead body. Patreon.com/roastmortemcast. I don't know what that means. Give us money till you're dead.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
We're
saying.
not selling Mike's the Gilgo victims on there anymore.
No, we've taken that off. That was a brief. We
it
were
was a
giving
one-
locations.
Go fund
Yeah. We were going to do geocaching with
The body
Mike's
parts.
dead body count. Yeah.
If anyone out there wants to buy me Counter-Strike skins, I'm always willing to take them.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
Please, buy me some. A skeleton knife vanilla.
And definitely check out Grant's show, Thought Cops. They have some
Yeah.
really
Yeah, give 'em a
cool
listen.
interviews. Give them a listen. And yeah.
Damn, make that happen. Travis, you. Oh, yeah, we have a merch store.
Yeah, I think
I have yet to get any fucking merch.
Well, you got to buy it.
I never got a hat.
You got
You're not
I
getting
ain't
the hat.
get a fucking hat yet.
to buy it.
Did you get any shit yet, Connor?
No, my head's too big.
Yeah, we can't get him a hat.
They got
No
to
flex
specially
fit?
they got to specially design me one. Actually, my friend Richie gave me a snapback extender.
Okay.
Really?
Oh.
It works like a charm.
Really?
Big
Yeah.
boy. Big
How's
boy's
it-
on.
I could get one of those actually.
It's
I have a
really
little
good. It's
snapback
just
on.
like a little thing. It just has half is like the outies, half is the innies. You just plug it back in and
Perfect.
I actually need to get that too because I'm always on the last,
me
absolute
too.
last
Yeah.
one.
my
yeah.
quick draw one's all fucked
yeah, no.
up.
So it makes it the hole really opens up,
Nice.
Sick.
Big old
but it
hole in
looks
the back.
good.
Hell
All
yeah!
right, awesome. So get one of those if you got a big head like
Yeah, go to
Connor and try buy
Amazon,
that
yeah.
fucking violent docking hat.
Yeah.
That's it, I guess. Thanks again, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you, Shane.
Bye.
Give us money, please. I'm
Yeah, thanks for
fucking
listening.
poor.
Poor.